Chapter 121. A Tier 5 Armor Set. Zinnov leads his 20,000 soldiers toward Veristan City, the rhythmic march of boots echoing across the plains. As he floats above the advancing army, his sharp eyes scan the city ahead. To his surprise, no formidable defense awaits. Only a handful of guards, most appearing to be mere Tier 1 warriors. Hovering in the air, Zinnov furrows his brow, his thoughts turning inward. Is this all they have left to defend this city? He muses aloud. Have they truly committed all their forces to Kras City? He strokes his chin thoughtfully. Their intelligence network has always been surprisingly adept. He continues, his voice tinged with suspicion. They seem to anticipate our every move. Could this be another one of their ploys? Zinnov's gaze hardens as he surveys the seemingly vulnerable city. He knows better than to underestimate his adversaries. As Zinnov's forces advance toward Veristan City, the Shadows, an elite group of assassins now numbering over 1,000, bolstered by the Umbral race, lie in wait. Among them, Veleth, Grell, and Tarvin, all formidable Tier 5 assassin, observe their target from concealed positions. Veleth's eyes narrow as he senses the immense power radiating from Zinnov. This one is strong, he murmurs. To succeed, we must coordinate our efforts precisely. Grell and Tarvin nod in unison. Understood, Grell replies. We'll follow your lead. As Zinnov initiates his assault on the city, unleashing a devastating Tier 4 skill that sends shockwaves through the defenses, Veleth signals the Shadows to move. The assassins emerge from the shadows, converging on Zinnov with lethal intent. The assassins emerge from the darkness, converging on the soldiers with lethal intent. Veleth leads the charge, his twin daggers gleaming with a dark aura. He darts toward Zinnov with blinding speed, aiming for the gaps in his ornate armor. Grell and Tarvin flank from either side, their umbral heritage evident as their sharp claws extend, seeking to rend flesh and metal alike. Zinnov reacts with uncanny reflexes, his Tier 5 armor absorbing the initial onslaught. He swings his massive sword in a wide arc, forcing the assassins to retreat momentarily. Foolish, Zinnov sneers. Veleth immediately send a signal to Alex through a device. Turning to Grell and Tarvin, he speaks lowly. Change of plan. We hold him until His Majesty arrives. Understood, Tarvin responds, his claws flexing in anticipation. The three assassins reposition, encircling Zinnov. Veleth feints to the left, drawing Zinnov's attention, while Grell and Tarvin exploit the distraction, launching synchronized attacks from behind. Zinnov pivots swiftly, parrying Grell's claws with his gauntlet arm and delivering a forceful kick to Tarvin, sending him skidding across the battlefield. This is quite impressive. A new monster kingdom having 4 Tier 5 combatants. Veleth seizes the moment, activating a Tier 5 skill, Shadow Meld, becoming one with the surrounding darkness. He reappears behind Zinnov, driving his daggers toward the seams of the armor. The blades find purchase, eliciting a grunt from Zinnov. Enraged, Zinnov channels his energy, causing his armor to emit a blinding light, forcing the assassins to shield their eyes. He capitalizes on their momentary blindness, slashing his sword toward Veleth. Veleth barely evades the strike, feeling the blade's edge graze his side. Grell and Tarvin recover, launching renewed assaults, their claws clashing against Zinnov's radiant armor. The battle intensifies, with the three assassins employing their agility and umbral abilities to harry Zinnov, while he relies on his formidable defense and strength to repel them. Despite their relentless assault, Veleth, Grell, and Tarvin find themselves unable to penetrate Zinnov's formidable Tier 5 armor. Each strike, whether from Veleth's shadow-infused daggers or the umbral claws of Grell and Tarvin, is met with an impenetrable defense, leaving them momentarily at an impasse. Recognizing the need for greater power, Veleth decides to augment his abilities. He steps back, taking a deep breath, and begins to invoke a series of buff skills. His aura intensifies with each incantation. Shadow Ascendance. Tier 5 shadows coalesce around Veleth, enhancing his strength and agility to superhuman levels. Shadow Veil. Tier 4. A dark mist envelopes him, rendering his movements unpredictable and obscuring his presence. Knight's Resilience. Tier 4. His body's durability is heightened, allowing him to withstand powerful attacks. Pinterest. Fleetfoot. Tier 3. His speed increases, enabling rapid repositioning. Stealth's Embrace. Tier 2. His footsteps become silent, and his presence diminishes, making him harder to detect. As these enhancements take effect, Vaelith's form becomes a blur, the shadows themselves seeming to dance around him. Zinnov, observing this transformation, raises an eyebrow, clearly impressed. 6 buff skills. Zinnov remarks, his tone tinged with surprise. Even I, at level 590, have only mastered 4. Without wasting another moment, Vaelith launches himself at Zinnov with unprecedented speed. Grell and Tarvin, inspired by their leader's empowerment, synchronize their attacks, flanking Zinnov from both sides. Vaelith's daggers, now imbued with shadow energy, strike at the joints and seams of Zinnov's armor. Grell and Tarvin's claws, enhanced by their umbral heritage, target the less protected areas, aiming to exploit any weakness. Zinnov finds himself on the defensive, his sword movements swift yet increasingly pressured by the trio's coordinated assault. Despite his armor's resilience, the sheer ferocity and precision of the attacks begin to take a toll. With a growl of frustration, Zinnov channels his energy, causing his armor to emit a blinding light, attempting to disrupt the assassin's assault. However, Vaelith's Shadow Veil counters the illumination, maintaining the shroud of darkness around them. Sensing an opportunity, Vaelith signals to Grell and Tarvin. They nod in understanding, executing a maneuver they've practiced countless times. Grell feints high, drawing Zinnov's guard upward, while Tarvin sweeps low, aiming for the legs. Simultaneously, Vaelith strikes at Zinnov's exposed side. The combined assault finally breaches Zinnov's defense. A dagger pierces through a gap in the armor, eliciting a pained grunt from Zinnov. He staggers back, blood seeping from the wound. Zinnov wipes the blood from his side, his eyes narrowing as he assesses the 3 assassins before him. A smirk tugs at the corner of his mouth. Chapter 122. Alec's Arrival, Part 1. Impressive. You 3 managed to wound me, he acknowledges, his voice a mix of respect and menace. I suppose it's only fair I match your enthusiasm. With deliberate focus, Zinnov begins to chant, his voice resonating with power as he invokes his buff skills. Fortitude. Tier 4. His muscles bulge, veins coursing with enhanced strength, amplifying his physical prowess. Aegis of the Unyielding. Tier 4. A shimmering barrier envelopes him, reinforcing his already formidable armor with an additional layer of defense. Hawk's Reflexes. Tier 3. His movements become sharper, his reaction time accelerating to near superhuman levels. Endless Stamina. Tier 3. A steady glow emanates from within, granting him relentless endurance to sustain prolonged combat. The air around Zinnov crackles with aura as these enhancements take hold, his presence becoming even more imposing. He grips his sword with renewed vigor, the blade humming with latent power. Now, let's see how you fare against this, Zinnov challenges, his eyes locking onto Vaelith. Without warning, Zinnov lunges forward, his sword arcing toward Vaelith with blinding speed. Vaelith barely manages to parry, the force of the blow sending shockwaves through his arms. Grell and Tarvin seize the moment to flank Zinnov, their claws aiming for the gaps in his armor. Anticipating their maneuver, Zinnov pivots with uncanny agility, activating his Whirlwind Cleave, Tier 2, skill. His sword spins in a deadly circle, forcing the assassins to leap back to avoid the sweeping blade. You're fast, Vaelith admits, his eyes narrowing. But speed alone won't save you. Zinnov's smirk deepens. Let's test that theory. He slams his sword into the ground, activating Seismic Rupture, Tier 4. The earth trembles violently, fissures radiating outward, disrupting the assassin's footing. Tarvin stumbles, and Zinnov capitalizes on the misstep, closing the distance with a burst of speed. Raising his gauntlet fist, Zinov unleashes Meteor Strike, Tier 3, a devastating downward punch aimed at Tarvan. At the last moment, Grell intercepts, tackling Tarvan out of harm's way as the ground where he stood erupts in a cloud of debris. Valeth uses the chaos to his advantage, activating Shadow Step, Tier 3, to teleport behind Zinov. He thrusts his daggers toward the exposed area beneath Zinov's arm, but Zinov's hawk's reflexes allow him to twist away just in time, the blades grazing his side. "You're persistent. I'll give you that," Zinov growls, swinging his sword in a horizontal arc. Valeth ducks under the blade, rolling to create distance. "You have a great armor, but even the strongest armor has its weak points." Grell and Tarvan regroup, their eyes meeting Valeth's in silent communication. They spread out, encircling Zinov once more. "Enough of this," Zinov declares, raising his sword high. He channels energy into the blade, preparing to unleash Blazing Arc, Tier 4, a sweeping attack engulfed in flames. Recognizing the impending danger, Valeth shouts, "Scatter!" The assassins dart in different directions as Zinov's sword descends, a fiery wave erupting from the blade and scorching the ground in its path. Despite their agility, the heat singes their garments, the sheer power of the attack evident. The searing heat of Zinov's blazing arc scorches the battlefield, and despite their swift evasive maneuvers, Valeth, Grell, and Tarvan are caught at the fringes of the fiery onslaught. Their garments smolder, and burns mar their skin, the pain evident. Zinov's eyes narrow as he spots Grell momentarily faltering. Seizing the opportunity, he dashes forward, sword poised to deliver a fatal blow. Just as Zinov's blade is about to descend upon Grell, a massive crimson energy sword materializes between them, intercepting the attack with a resounding clash. The sheer force sends shockwaves through the air, causing Zinov to skid backward. Valeth, Grell, and Tarvan immediately recognize the presence behind the energy sword. They drop to one knee in unison, bowing their heads. "We greet your majesty," they intone respectfully. Valeth, still kneeling, speaks with a tone of regret. "Forgive us, your majesty. We lack the strength to defeat this human." A commanding voice responds, calm yet authoritative. "It's okay. You can go now and help the shadows kill the soldiers." The trio rises, casting a final glance at Zinov before retreating to the shadows. Zinov's gaze shifts to the newcomer. Before him stands Alex, the king of this Erevaris kingdom. His presence exudes confidence and power. "Are you the king of this new kingdom?" Zinov inquires, his tone measured. Alex meets his gaze squarely. "Yes, I am." Zinov sheathes his sword, adopting a diplomatic stance. "My king, the ruler of Valgros, wishes to propose that you cease your attack on the Ralthian kingdom. In return, we will acknowledge your newly established realm." A chuckle escapes Alex's lips, growing into a hearty laugh. "Why would I negotiate with a human kingdom I can easily destroy?" Zinov's expression darkens momentarily, but he quickly regains composure. "I don't know why you are so confident. From what I can sense, you've just broken through to Tier 5. Alex's eyes gleam with a mix of amusement and challenge. "You're not wrong, but I'm different." Alex's presence exudes a palpable aura of dominance as he begins to chant, his voice resonating with power. The atmosphere thickens as he invokes his formidable Tier 5 buff skills. Sovereign's Might. A golden radiance envelopes Alex, amplifying his physical strength to unparalleled levels. Imperial Aegis. An ethereal shield manifests around him, enhancing his defenses and rendering him nearly impervious to attacks. Temporal Acceleration. Time seems to bend around Alex, significantly boosting his speed and reflexes. Arcane Infusion. Mystical energies surge through his being, augmenting his magical prowess and imbuing his attacks with arcane force. Unyielding Will. A steely determination emanates from Alex, bolstering his resistance to mental and physical debilitation. As these enhancements take hold, Alex's figure becomes a beacon of overwhelming power. The ground beneath him trembles slightly, responding to the sheer force of his aura. Zinnov's eyes widen momentarily, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his features. He quickly suppresses it, steeling himself. Impressive display. He concedes, his tone measured. But raw power isn't everything. Chapter 123, Alex's Arrival, Part 2. As Alex's formidable aura radiates across the battlefield, Zinnov's expression tightens. He takes a deep breath, centering himself, and begins his own incantation. Flames flicker to life around him, intensifying as he activates his Tier 5 buff skill. Infernal Empowerment. A fiery glow envelopes Zinnov, amplifying his fire elemental abilities to their peak potential. The ground beneath Zinnov scorches as waves of heat emanate from his form. His confidence is bolstered not only by this enhancement but also by the formidable Tier 5 armor he wears, renowned for its resilience against both physical and magical assaults. Alex observes Zinnov's transformation with a calm, assessing gaze. The air between them crackles with tension, the clash of their auras causing the very atmosphere to tremble. Without further warning, Zinnov raises his hand, summoning a blazing inferno that spirals around his sword. The flames dance menacingly, reflecting in his determined eyes. Alex responds by tightening his grip on his own weapon, its blade shimmering with a blend of arcane energy and sheer force. The battlefield stands still for a heartbeat, the world holding its breath as two titans prepare to clash. Then, with a simultaneous surge, they charge at each other, the ground quaking beneath their might. Their weapons meet in an explosive collision of fire and energy, illuminating the surroundings with blinding light. The sheer force of their encounter sends shockwaves rippling outward, toppling nearby trees and scattering debris. Zinnov presses forward, his fire-enhanced strikes coming in rapid succession, each swing aiming to overwhelm Alex's defenses. Yet, Alex moves with uncanny agility, parrying and countering with precision, his buffs enhancing his speed and strength to match Zinnov's ferocity. As the duel intensifies, the very air becomes a maelstrom of heat and energy, the landscape around them bearing the scars of their monumental battle. Each combatant seeks an opening, a momentary lapse, that could turn the tide in their favor. The battlefield quakes under the might of Alex and Zinnov's clash, their auras colliding in a tempest of power. Zinnov, clad in his formidable Tier 5 armor, channels his infernal empowerment, flames wreathing his form as he presses the attack. Alex, bathed in the golden glow of Sovereign's might, meets each strike with unwavering resolve, his movements a blur thanks to temporal acceleration. Seizing an opening, Alex raises his hand, invoking Stormcall, Tier 5. Dark clouds swirl overhead, and with a deafening crack, a massive bolt of lightning descends upon Zinnov. The ground erupts in sparks and smoke as the electricity courses through Zinnov's armor. Zinnov staggers but quickly regains his footing, his eyes blazing. It's crazy how this guy has so many Tier 5 skills. He might really be from the other continent, he thought. As the storm's fury subsides, Alex stands resolute, his gaze fixed upon Zinnov. The battlefield, scarred by their clash, smolders with residual energy. Zinnov, though visibly injured, refuses to yield. His eyes blaze with determination as he steadies himself, gripping his sword tightly. Alex inclines his head slightly, acknowledging Zinnov's resolve. "Your tenacity is commendable," he said. Without further warning, Alex raises his hand, invoking his next Tier 5 skill, Eruption. The ground beneath Zinnov's feet trembles violently before erupting in a geyser of molten lava. The scorching magma engulfs Zinnov, searing his armor and flesh alike. He cries out in agony, barely managing to fly away from the molten onslaught. His once pristine armor now bears the marks of intense heat, portions of it warped and smoldering. Zinnov in the sky, seeking refuge from the relentless assault. His armor, though formidable, now have dents, testaments to the intensity of their clash. The air around him shimmers with residual heat as he hovers, attempting to catch his breath and reassess the situation. Alex, undeterred, watches Zinnov's ascent with a calm, predatory gaze. With a subtle flex of his legs, he propels himself upward, effortlessly joining Zinev in the heavens. The two warriors now face each other amidst the clouds, the vast expanse of the battlefield stretching out below them. "Running won't save you," Alex remarks, his voice carrying effortlessly through the thinning air. Zinev's eyes narrow, a mixture of frustration and determination flickering within them. "I'm not running," he retorts, tightening his grip on his sword.
"I'm strategizing."
Alex offers a faint smile, unimpressed. Without further ado, he raises his hand, summoning his next Tier 5 skill, Celestial Barrage. The sky darkens as luminous, ethereal spears materialize around Alex, each pulsating with raw energy. With a swift motion, he directs them toward Zinev. Zinev's eyes widen as the spears hurtle toward him with unerring precision. He maneuvers desperately, managing to evade the first few projectiles. However, the sheer number overwhelms him, and several spears pierce through his defenses, searing his flesh and eliciting grunts of pain. As the ethereal spears of Alex's celestial barrage dissipate, leaving trails of shimmering light, Zinev hovers amidst the thinning clouds, his breath ragged and labored. The searing pain from multiple wounds gnaws at his resolve. He thinks, "If this continues, I will really die here." His gaze locks onto Alex, who remains composed, an enigmatic figure whose origins and abilities are shrouded in mystery. Zinev's mind races, unable to discern the nature of the adversary before him. The sheer number of Tier 5 skills Alex commands is staggering, each one executed with devastating precision. Determined to make a final stand, Zinev clenches his fists, summoning the last vestiges of his strength. He knows that retreat is the only viable option, but not without delivering a parting blow. Channeling his remaining energy, he invokes his ultimate Tier 5 skill, Infernal Cataclysm. A maelstrom of fire and brimstone erupts around Zinev, coalescing into a massive sphere of incandescent fury. With a primal roar, he hurls the blazing orb toward Alex, the very air igniting in its wake. Alex's eyes narrow as the fiery onslaught hurtles toward him. He raises his sword, and with a swift, fluid motion, he calls upon another Tier 5 skill, Abyssal Maelstrom. Dark, swirling winds infused with shadowy energy spiral around Alex, forming a vortex that collides with the incoming inferno. The two forces clash violently, creating a cacophony of roaring flames and howling winds. The sky itself seems to tremble as the opposing energies vie for dominance. The resulting explosion engulfs the battlefield in a blinding light, shockwaves rippling outward, scattering clouds and shaking the earth below. As the brilliance fades, Alex emerges unscathed. As the echoes of their previous clash fade, Zinev's breath is ragged and limbs heavy. The relentless exchange has drained him, and the searing pain from his wounds. Alex remains composed. Though the use of multiple Tier 5 skills has nearly depleted his mana, he still has enough mana to employ Tier 4 abilities, more than sufficient to end this confrontation. Alex's eyes narrow as he assesses Zinev's deteriorated state. With a swift motion, he raises his sword, its blade gleaming ominously. He channels his energy into a Tier 4 skill, Arcane Crescent. A sweeping arc of condensed magical energy surges from Alex's blade, slicing through the air toward Zinev with lethal precision. Zinev's eyes widen as the shimmering wave hurtles toward him. Summoning his waning strength, he raises his own sword, attempting to parry the incoming attack. The collision sends a jarring shock through his body, forcing him back several feet. His muscles scream in protest, exhaustion threatening to overtake him. Alex doesn't relent. He advances, unleashing a flurry of Tier 4 skills in rapid succession. Gale strikes. Blades of wind slice through the atmosphere, each one aimed with deadly accuracy at Zinev. Stone lance. Jagged spears of rock erupt from the ground, targeting Zinev's position with unyielding force. Zinev dodges and deflects as best he can, but the relentless assault begins to overwhelm him. For the first time in years, a sensation he thought long buried resurfaces. Fear. The stark realization grips him. If this continues, I will die here. But then, a surge of determination flares within him. No, he thinks fiercely. I will not die here. His Majesty still needs me. Below, the soldiers locked in fierce combat witness Zinov's desperate attempts to evade Alex's relentless assault in the sky. The once dominant marshal now resembles a frightened rat, darting through the sky, his fiery aura dimmed. This unexpected turn sows confusion among his ground forces, their morale wavering as they glance upward, distracted by their leader's plight. Encircling these disoriented troops are the shadows. Until now, the soldiers' tight formation had stymied the shadows' efforts, presenting a formidable wall of shields and spears. But as uncertainty spreads through the ranks, gaps begin to appear in their defense. The disciplined cohesion that once held firm starts to unravel. Seizing this opportunity, the shadows move with synchronized lethality. They slip through the faltering defenses, blades flashing under the dim sky. Silent and efficient, they exploit every opening, their daggers finding chinks in armor, their movements a blur amidst the chaos. The battlefield becomes a stage for a grim ballet, where the shadows weave between foes, leaving lifeless forms in their wake. The soldiers, already shaken by Zinov's apparent defeat, are ill-prepared for this sudden onslaught. Panic surges through their ranks as comrades fall, their formation collapsing into disarray. Some attempt to regroup, barking orders over the clamor, while others, gripped by fear, turn to flee. The shadows give no quarter, pressing their advantage with ruthless efficiency. Amidst the turmoil, the ground is slick with blood, the air thick with the cries of the wounded and dying. The once organized battalion is reduced to scattered pockets of resistance, each swiftly extinguished by the relentless assassins. The massacre unfolds with brutal finality, a testament to the devastating impact of a leader's fall on the morale and effectiveness of his troops. Chapter 124. I Surrender. Zinov hurtles toward the ground, his body battered and energy nearly spent. Alex descends gracefully beside him, his expression calm yet resolute. I guess this is the end, Alex states, his voice steady. Zinov, with a defiant glint in his eyes, reaches into his pouch and retrieves a shimmering crystal. With a swift motion, he crushes it in his hand. Instantly, his form vanishes, leaving behind only a faint shimmer in the air. Alex raises an eyebrow, a hint of surprise flickering across his face. A teleportation crystal, he muses aloud. Didn't expect to see one here. He pauses, reflecting on the implications. In the game, these were rare items. He continues, speaking to himself. Their teleportation range depended on their rarity. The higher the grade, the farther they could transport you. A slight smirk tugs at the corner of Alex's mouth. Interesting, he murmurs. Normally, preventing such an escape is straightforward with the right skills. There's a Tier 5 ability specifically designed to block the lowest rarity of teleportation crystal. He exhales, a mix of amusement and intrigue in his tone. But who would have thought a native of this world would possess such an item? The scent of charred earth and the metallic tang of blood linger in the air. Amidst the remnants of the skirmish, Valeth materializes beside Alex, dropping to one knee in deference. Your Majesty, Valeth reports, his voice steady. The enemy forces have been eliminated. Alex nods, his gaze sweeping over the aftermath. Good, he responds. Ensure their belongings are collected before disposing of the remains. As you command, Your Majesty, Valeth replies, rising to his feet. He signals to the shadows, who swiftly begin the grim task of gathering weapons, armor, and any valuables from the fallen soldiers. Satisfied with the proceedings, Alex turns away from the scene. With a thought, he accesses the system interface, selecting the option to return to his palace. In an instant, a soft glow envelopes him, and he vanishes from the battlefield, leaving his subordinates to complete the post-battle rituals. Varka's and Pavel's battle rages on, with Varka steadily gaining the upper hand. Pavel, sensing defeat, abruptly disengages and attempts to flee. As he retreats, He commands his two enslaved monster companions to attack. Lyra, Selene, stop him. Pavel's voice is sharp, and the slave marks near their chests glow ominously, compelling them to obey. The two women, their eyes filled with reluctance and pain, step forward, preparing to unleash their magic upon Varkas. Varkas, however, moves swiftly. With a surge of speed, he closes the distance between them and places a hand on each of their shoulders. Rest now, he murmurs, his voice gentle yet firm. A calming energy emanates from him, and both women collapse into unconsciousness, freed momentarily from their torment. Without wasting another moment, Varkas focuses on Pavel, who is now a considerable distance away. Drawing upon his enhanced agility, Varkas sprints after him, closing the gap with remarkable speed. Pavel glances back, panic flickering across his face as he sees Varkas approaching rapidly. He attempts to quicken his pace, but it's futile. Within moments, Varkas is upon him. "You can't run from me," Varkas growls. Pavel turns, desperation driving him to swing his greatsword wildly. Varkas sidesteps the clumsy attack with ease and delivers a decisive strike to Pavel's chest. The force sends Pavel sprawling to the ground, his weapon slipping from his grasp. Coughing and struggling, Pavel looks up at Varkas, fear evident in his eyes. "Please, have mercy," he pleads. Varkas's expression hardens. "Did you show mercy to those you enslaved?" Pavel opens his mouth to respond, but Varkas doesn't give him the chance. With a swift, powerful motion, he ends Pavel's life, ensuring he can no longer harm another soul. Standing over Pavel's lifeless body, Varkas exhales deeply, the weight of the battle settling upon him. He then turns back toward the battlefield. As the battle draws to a close, the adventurers find themselves overwhelmed and begin a desperate retreat. Varkas stands amidst the chaos, his keen eyes observing the enemy's disarray. He raises his voice, commanding his forces. "Do not let them escape. Cut off their retreat and finish this." His soldiers respond with renewed vigor, pressing the attack and preventing the adventurers from fleeing. The battlefield soon falls silent, the enemy either defeated or captured. Varkas surveys the aftermath, his expression resolute. He turns to his troops. "Gather all weapons, armor, and valuables from the fallen. Ensure nothing of use is left behind. Once the looting is complete, dispose of the bodies properly." The soldiers nod in understanding and begin the grim task of collecting items from the fallen adventurers. As Varkas oversees the collection of weapons and valuables from the fallen adventurers, a member of the Shadows approaches him, bowing respectfully. "General Varkas," the Shadow reports, "His Majesty has vanquished the enemy forces on the Veristan city. The battlefield is secured." Varkas's eyes light up with admiration. "Our king never ceases to amaze," he says, a proud smile forming. "I would have relished witnessing his prowess firsthand once more." The Shadow nods in agreement. Varkas takes a deep breath, the weight of the recent battle still evident. "Let's ensure our duties are completed swiftly. Our king's victories inspire us all to strive for excellence." "Understood, Commander." The Shadow responds before returning to his tasks. Varkas casts a final glance over the battlefield, his thoughts momentarily drifting to the image of his king in combat, before refocusing on the responsibilities at hand. In the days following the decisive victory over the Ralthian kingdom, the cities of Erevaris, Mizorn, Dalan, Kraz, and Veristan buzz with excitement and admiration for their sovereign, King Alex. Marketplaces are abuzz with animated discussions, and taverns brim with lively conversations about the recent triumph. In Mizorn's bustling central square, vendors enthusiastically share the news with their customers. "Did you hear?" a fruit seller exclaims, handing a ripe apple to a customer. "His Majesty single-handedly crushed the Ralthian forces. They didn't stand a chance." Nearby, a group of young women converse in hushed, excited tones. "Not only is our king powerful," one says, her eyes sparkling, "but have you seen him? He's incredibly handsome." Another giggles, adding, and rumors said that he is still unmarried. Imagine being the queen of such a mighty ruler. In Delon's main tavern, patrons raised their mugs in celebration. To King Alex, a burly orc toasts, his voice echoing through the establishment. May his reign be long and victorious. A lizardfolk patron nods in agreement. I've never seen leadership like his. He commands with strength and wisdom. Throughout Erevaris, the sentiment is unanimous. King Alex's strength, wisdom, and charisma have solidified his place as a revered and admired leader. The kingdom eagerly anticipates a future of prosperity and security under his rule. In the desolate city of Sindwind, the once bustling streets now lie eerily silent. Abandoned homes and shuttered shops stand as testament to the mass exodus that has taken place. Only a few souls remain trapped by circumstance. Inside a modest, dimly lit home, young Zale sits close to his mother, Alira. The flickering light from a single candle casts long shadows on the walls, mirroring the uncertainty that weighs heavily upon them. Mama, why did everyone leave? Zale's voice trembles, betraying his fear. Alira pulls him closer, her hand gently stroking his hair. The monsters, they've taken Veristan. Sindwind is next. Her voice is steady, but her eyes glisten with unshed tears. Why didn't we go too? He asks, looking up at her with wide, innocent eyes. She sighs, the weight of their predicament pressing down on her. The journey to the next city is long and treacherous. Without a horse or cart, we'd have to travel on foot through the wilderness. But others left. They had means we don't. She cups his face, forcing a reassuring smile. We have to stay strong, Zale. We'll find a way. In the grand hall of the royal palace, King Edric sits heavily upon his ornate throne, his gaze fixed on the intricate patterns of the marble floor. The weight of recent events presses down on him, rendering the opulence around him hollow. A trusted advisor approaches cautiously, his footsteps echoing in the vast chamber. Bowing deeply, he addresses the king. Your Majesty, the latest reports have arrived. His advisor begins, his voice laced with apprehension. Edric's eyes flicker upward, meeting his advisor's. Speak, he commands, though his tone lacks its usual authority. He clears his throat. Our forces were utterly decimated. Not a single soldier returned. The king's face pales further, disbelief etched into his features. And Zinov? What of him? He hesitates, then delivers the crushing news. Defeated, Your Majesty. The reports indicate that even his formidable strength was no match for the king. Edric leans back, his head resting against the cold metal of his throne. He closes his eyes, the reality of their situation sinking in. Zinov, defeated. He murmurs, more to himself than anyone else. I never thought I'd see the day. A heavy silence envelopes the room. After a long pause, Edric opens his eyes, a glimmer of resolve surfacing amidst the despair. We still have the artifact, he states, though doubt tinges his words. King Edric sits heavily upon his ornate throne, the weight of recent events pressing down on him. His fingers drum anxiously on the armrest as he contemplates the artifact's potential. Doubt clouds his mind. Even with such a powerful relic, I have a feeling that the chances of defeating that monstrous king seem slim. The advisor stands nearby, his expression a mix of concern and anticipation. The silence in the grand hall is palpable. Finally, Edric exhales deeply and straightens his posture. Chapter 125. Subject Kingdom, Part 1. Prepare a message to the kingdom of Erevaris. Aldric's brow furrows slightly. Your Majesty? Edric meets his advisor's gaze. Inform them that we, the kingdom of Valgros, seek to become a subject kingdom under their rule. We acknowledge their strength and wisdom, and in these dire times, we believe unity is our best path to survival. The advisor hesitates for a moment, then bows deeply. As you command, Your Majesty, I will ensure the message is dispatched immediately. In his working chamber, King Alex stands before a large map of the realm, his piercing gaze scanning the territories. A soft knock interrupts his contemplation. The door opens, revealing Sisari, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, a three-eyed, serpent-like being whose movements are fluid and hypnotic. "Your Majesty," Sisari begins, her voice smooth and measured. "The Ralthian kingdom has sent word. They accept becoming our subject kingdom." Alex raises an eyebrow, a hint of surprise flickering across his face. "Oh? I expected them to resist until the end. This is unexpected." Sisari inclines her head slightly. "Indeed, Your Majesty. However, considering the circumstances, perhaps they see the wisdom in aligning with us." Alex nods thoughtfully. "Perhaps. Bridging the divide between humans and monsters will take time. Their submission may ease this transition." "You are correct, Your Majesty," Sisari agrees. "Historically, humans in this world have enslaved monsters. Overcoming such deep-seated prejudices will be challenging." Alex's expression hardens with resolve. "We must guide them toward a new understanding. Go to the King of Ralthian. Explain what it means to be a subject kingdom under Erevaris." Sisari bows deeply, her serpentine form undulating gracefully. "As you command, Your Majesty. I shall depart at once." As the sun begins its descent over Eldoria, the capital city of the Ralthian kingdom, a remarkable sight unfolds in the sky. A carriage, drawn by flaming, monstrous horses, soars gracefully above the rooftops, casting an ethereal glow over the cobblestone streets below. At the reins are two imposing figures: Grix, a formidable lizard man, and an ogre whose massive frame exudes strength. Inside the carriage sits Sisari, her presence both commanding and enigmatic. The citizens of Eldoria pause in their daily routines, their gazes fixed skyward, mouths agape in astonishment. "By the gods, do you see that? A carriage? Flying?" exclaims a merchant, his hands trembling as he shields his eyes from the sun. "Never in my life have I witnessed such a marvel," murmurs a scholar, clutching his scrolls tighter. "Not even the Valgros kingdom possesses such wonders. Is this truly possible?" A young boy tugs at his mother's sleeve, his eyes wide with wonder. "Mama, look, the horses are on fire, but they don't burn up." His mother, equally captivated, nods slowly. It's as if the legends have come to life before our very eyes. As the carriage glides closer to the palace, the crowd's murmurs grow louder, a mixture of awe and apprehension. "Who could command such power?" a blacksmith wonders aloud, wiping soot from his brow. The floating carriage descends gracefully, coming to a halt before the grand entrance of the royal palace. Guards stationed at the gates exchange uneasy glances, their hands instinctively tightening around their spears. The citizens maintain a respectful distance, their collective breath held in anticipation of what this unprecedented arrival portends for the future of the Ralthian kingdom. In the grand throne room of Ralthian's palace, King Edric sits upon his ornate throne, the weight of recent decisions evident in his posture. The chamber is adorned with intricate tapestries and gilded columns, reflecting the kingdom's storied history. A herald's voice echoes through the hall, breaking the contemplative silence. "Your Majesty, the Minister of Foreign Affairs from the Erevaris kingdom has arrived." The massive doors swing open, revealing Sisari, flanked by two imposing figures clad in resplendent gold armor. Edric's gaze immediately fixes on the soldiers, recognizing their formidable presence. Two Tier 5 monsters, he muses internally, the magnitude of their power is greater than he expected. Sisari advances with a fluid grace, her movements almost hypnotic. Stopping a respectful distance from the throne, she offers a slight bow, her elongated form undulating subtly. "Greetings, King of the Human Kingdom." Sisari intones, her voice smooth and measured. "I am Sisari, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Kingdom of Erevaris. I come to elucidate the terms of your kingdom's new status as a subject under Erevaris." King Edric straightens, his expression a blend of resolve and curiosity. We are prepared to listen, Minister Cesari. Please, proceed. Cesari's 3 eyes focus intently on Edric. As a subject kingdom, Ralthian will retain internal autonomy, governing its people and managing domestic affairs without interference. However, in matters of defense and foreign policy, alignment with Erevaris is imperative. Our enemies will be your enemies, our alliances yours. Edric nods slowly, absorbing the implications. And our military forces? Your army will integrate with ours during times of external threat, operating under unified command to ensure cohesive strategy and execution. The king's fingers drum lightly on the armrest. Tributes. A yearly contribution will be required to support the collective strength of our alliance. This may be in the form of resources, troops, or other assets deemed valuable. Edric's gaze shifts to the golden-clad guards. And the presence of the monsters within our borders? Cesari's tail flicks slightly. Citizens of Erevaris are permitted to travel freely throughout your cities. Edric's jaw tightens. And if these citizens commit crimes on our soil, well, you have the right to detain them, Cesari concedes. But they must be transferred to Erevaris authorities for trial and sentencing. The king's knuckles whiten as he grips the armrest. So, justice is to be outsourced? It is a measure to ensure fairness and prevent potential biases, given the historical tensions between our peoples. Cesari replies smoothly. Edric exhales sharply, the weight of concession pressing heavily upon him. Is there more? Cesari's eyes narrow slightly. Yes. His Majesty requires the immediate emancipation of all monster slaves within your kingdom. Chapter 126. Subject Kingdom, Part 2. A murmur ripples through the court. Edric's eyes widen. You ask us to release them? Not ask, King Edric. Demand. Cesari's voice remains calm but carries an unmistakable edge. Any individual found to be in possession of monster slaves henceforth will face execution. The room falls into a stunned silence. Edric's mind races, contemplating the societal upheaval this decree will unleash. This will not be easy. Our economy, our very way of life relies on. Change is seldom easy, Cesari interjects. But it is necessary. The era of subjugation ends now. Edric leans back, the weight of the throne suddenly more burdensome than ever. Very well. We will comply. Cesari inclines her head. Your cooperation ensures a harmonious future between our kingdoms. The envoy turns gracefully, the golden-armored guards following in lockstep. As they depart, the heavy doors closing behind them, Edric remains seated, the enormity of the moment settling over him like a shroud. After the nobles have departed, King Edric leans back in his throne, exhaling a long sigh. He turns to his advisor, Echeric, standing nearby. The terms are more lenient than I anticipated. Edric admits, rubbing his temples. I expected demands for human slaves and exorbitant monthly tributes. Echeric nods, his expression mirroring the king's surprise. Indeed, your majesty, their requests are more humane than those of the other 2 kingdoms. Edric sighs again, his gaze distant. You're right, it's unexpected. Echeric hesitates before speaking. Your Majesty, how shall we proceed with the emancipation of all slaves? It's not only the nobles who own them. Many common citizens do as well. Edric straightens, resolve hardening his features. Issue a decree announcing our new status as a subject kingdom of Erevaris. Make it clear that all slaves must be freed immediately. Anyone who refuses will face execution. Echeric inclines his head. And the nobles, sire? As you're aware, many among them. Edric's eyes narrow. Arrest those who resist. Hand them over to Erevaris or execute them for everyone to see. It's time to remove the weeds for the future of this kingdom, and for my son. Echeric bows deeply. As you command. The morning sun casts a golden hue over the bustling marketplace of Ralthian. Merchants arrange their wares, children dart between stalls, and the aroma of freshly baked bread fills the air. Yet, An undercurrent of tension weaves through the crowd as news of King Edric's decree spreads like wildfire. At the heart of the square, a group of nobles, draped in opulent garments, congregates near the marble fountain. Their faces, usually composed, are etched with disbelief and indignation. "This is preposterous." Lord Beric's voice rises above the din, his clenched fist trembling. "How does the king expect us to manage our estates without our monster servants?" Lady Lara, her emerald necklace catching the sunlight, nods vehemently. "Indeed, has His Majesty forgotten the centuries of tradition that have upheld our society?" Another noble, a stout man with a ruddy complexion, grumbles. "It's not just tradition, it's our economy. Releasing them disrupts everything." Nearby, common citizens gather in small clusters, their faces a mix of confusion and concern. A blacksmith wipes soot from his brow, muttering, "Without the kobold apprentices, how am I to meet my quotas?" A washerwoman wrings her hands, whispering to a friend, "The monster maid has been with our family for years. She's like kin. But what choice do we have?" As days pass, the unrest simmers. Petitions circulate, clandestine meetings are held, and whispers of dissent grow louder. The nobles, in particular, are vocal in their opposition, some openly defying the decree by retaining their monster slaves. Then, on the third day, the tension reaches its zenith. In the central square, a makeshift gallows stands ominously against the morning sky. A crowd gathers, murmurs of curiosity and fear intertwining. Guards lead forth Lord Beric, his hands bound, his face pale but resolute. A herald steps forward, unrolling a parchment. By order of King Edric, Lord Beric is found guilty of defying the royal decree mandating the release of all monster slaves. The penalty is death. Gasps ripple through the assembly. Lady Lara pushes to the front, her voice trembling. "This is madness. You cannot do this." The herald's gaze remains unwavering. "The law is clear. Let this serve as a warning." The execution proceeds swiftly. As Lord Beric's lifeless body hangs, a heavy silence blankets the square. The message is unmistakable. In the following days, the resistance dissipates. Nobles quietly release their monster slaves, and commoners follow suit. The fear of sharing Lord Beric's fate quells further dissent. In the royal chambers, King Edric stands by the window, observing the city below. His advisor, Echeric, approaches. "Your Majesty, the decree is being followed." The execution had the desired effect. A month has passed since King Edric's decree, and the streets of Eldoria, the capital of the Ralphian kingdom, have undergone a subtle yet profound transformation. Monsters from the Erevaris kingdom now traverse the city openly, their heads held high, embodying a newfound dignity. Humans, though visibly uneasy, have adapted to this change, acutely aware of their kingdom's submission to Erevaris. In the bustling marketplace, a monster adorned in a simple tunic examines a merchant's array of fruits. His massive frame casts a shadow over the stall as he picks up an apple, inspecting it with a discerning eye. The merchant, an elderly man with a weathered face, forces a smile. "Fine choice, sir. That apple's fresh from the orchards this morning." The Minotaur nods, reaching into a leather pouch to retrieve coins. As he hands them over, his gaze meets the merchant's. "Your produce is renowned even in Erevaris. It's good to finally experience it firsthand." Nearby, a group of human children play a game of marbles. Their laughter fills the air until a towering monster approaches, his steps causing the ground to tremble slightly. The children freeze, eyes wide with apprehension. Another monster crouches down, a gentle smile softening his otherwise fearsome features. "Don't stop on my account. I used to play this game in my youth. May I watch?" Chapter 127. 3 Peak Tier 5 Subordinates, Part 1. The children exchange hesitant glances before one of them. A boy with a mop of unruly brown hair nods cautiously. You played marbles too?" The monster, a hulking troll with slate-gray skin and curved tusks, chuckles, his deep voice carrying no menace. "Of course. though I was not very good at it. The tension eases slightly. One of the girls, braver than the rest, nudges a marble toward him. "Wanna try?" The troll carefully picks up the marble between two thick fingers, rolling it experimentally before flicking it forward. It bounces off another marble and spins to a stop. The children erupt into laughter. "You really weren't very good at it," the brown-haired boy exclaims. Across the marketplace, a different scene unfolds. A group of monsters, beasts, humanoids, and hybrids alike, stand near the main fountain, observing the humans with open curiosity. Most of them have never seen a human city before, having lived deep in the forests or the mountains, far from the reach of human civilization. A serpent-like woman with emerald scales, Veltha, coils idly on a low stone wall. She watches the humans bustle about, her golden eyes gleaming with interest. "So this is what a human city?" she muses aloud. "It's underwhelming." Nasara, a lithe arachne, perches on the edge of a merchant's awning, her sharp gaze scanning the streets. "Compared to the 5 cities of Erevaris, this is nothing," she agrees. Her tone is neutral, but there is an undeniable hint of superiority in it. In the grand library of the Erevaris Palace, Alex sits at a polished oak desk, the soft glow of magical light illuminating the parchment in his hands. His eyes scan the report detailing the recent alliance between the Valgros and Ordea kingdoms, their refusal to acknowledge Erevaris, and their condemnation of Ralthian for submitting to the monsters. Alex exhales slowly, placing the parchment on the desk. So, they've finally broken their silence after a month. Across from him, General Varkas stands with arms crossed, his brow furrowed. "Their pride was wounded, Your Majesty. It's no surprise they've united in defiance. Our next target is the Ordea Kingdom," Alex declares, his voice resolute. "The recent battle decimated their ranks, claiming the lives of many adventurers, including their strongest. They're now as vulnerable as Ralthian." General Varkas, standing nearby in his dark armor, nods in agreement. "Your Majesty, shall I prepare the army? Our forces have swelled to 70,000. Even divided, they can effectively assault multiple cities." Alex raises a hand, signaling patience. "Not yet. Let's wait until the army masters the Finger of the Death God skill before initiating our assault." Varkas inclines his head. "As you command. Currently, they can manifest it to a limited extent." Alex's eyes narrow with determination. "Once they achieve full proficiency, we'll strike." In the expansive training grounds of Erevaris, 70,000 soldiers stand in disciplined formation under the midday sun. Their collective focus manifests as a colossal, ethereal finger hovering above them, a tangible embodiment of the Finger of the Death God's skill. This formidable display signifies their readiness to confront even Tier 5 beings, despite the majority being Tier 2 or Tier 3 warriors. Grounds. King Alex observes the spectacle, his expression a mix of pride and determination. General Varkas stands beside him, clad in his customary dark armor, eyes fixed on the army below. Alex breaks the silence. "They've achieved full manifestation." Varkas nods, a hint of a smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "Indeed, Your Majesty, their dedication has borne fruit." Alex's gaze remains on the soldiers. "With this power, even our lower-tiered troops can challenge the Tier 5 adversaries." Varkas turns to face the king. "Shall I issue the order to mobilize against the Ordea Kingdom?" Alex pauses, considering. "Yes. Inform the commanders to prepare for departure. The time has come to act." Varkas bows slightly. "As you command, Your Majesty." Commander Nasara surveys the scene with a gleam in her multiple eyes. "Finally, we are going to war again," she hisses, her excitement palpable. Beside her, Veltha coils gracefully. "Our patience has paid off," she murmurs, her eyes reflecting the towering manifestation above. Thurn lets out a low chuckle. 2 months of relentless training," he rumbles. "And now we stand on the precipice of battle." General Varkas approaches the group, his armor gleaming under the sun. "Commanders," he addresses them, "King Alex has given the order. We march on the Ordea kingdom and continue this war." In the grand war room of the Erevaris Palace, King Alex stands at the head of a massive, intricately carved table. Around him, the 5 monster commanders, Nasara, Veltha, Thurn, Sorin, and Varkas, await his words. A messenger kneels before the king, having just delivered news. Alex's piercing gaze meets the messenger's. "So, Ralthian has sent 10,000 human soldiers?" The messenger nods. "Yes, your majesty. They are prepared to march at your command." Alex's eyes narrow slightly as he processes the information. 10,000 soldiers from Ralthian, he muses. "That's more than I anticipated." He turns to Varkas. "General Varkas, I'll leave it to you to determine their placement within our forces." Varkas inclines his head. "As you command, your majesty." Alex scans the faces of his assembled commanders, his expression resolute. "That's all I needed to address. May fortune favor you all. Return victorious." The commanders, a diverse assembly of formidable beings, exchange determined glances. Nasara's multiple eyes gleam with anticipation. Veltha's emerald scales shimmer as she nods, and Thurn's massive form radiates readiness. As usual, Sorin watches Alex's face intently. With a unified purpose, they bow to their king before departing to lead their forces into battle. Alex returns to his workspace, a spacious chamber lined with towering bookshelves and adorned with intricate tapestries depicting the history of Erevaris. The large oak desk at the center is barely visible beneath the mountain of parchments, scrolls, and documents awaiting his attention. With the kingdom's activities in full swing, administrative tasks have multiplied. Sighing, Alex sinks into the high-backed chair, rubbing his temples before reaching for the nearest document. As he begins to read, a soft knock echoes through the chamber. "Enter." Alex calls out, not looking up. The door opens quietly, and Drea steps in, her presence bringing a subtle calm to the room. She observes the weary expression on Alex's face and approaches with a gentle smile. "Your Majesty, what's with the long face?" she inquires softly. Alex looks up, surprised. "Oh, Drea, I thought you were busy today." She nods, her hands clasped neatly before her. "I was, but I finished my tasks early." Her eyes flicker to the cluttered desk. "Is there anything else I can assist you with, Your Majesty?" Alex leans back in his chair, rubbing his temples briefly before offering a faint smile. "Just the usual snack would be appreciated." Drea's smile warms. "Of course, Your Majesty. I'll have it brought to you shortly." She hesitates for a moment, then adds, "And perhaps some tea to help you relax?" Alex's smile grows slightly. "That sounds perfect. Thank you, Drea." She inclines her head gracefully. "It's my pleasure, Your Majesty." With that, she turns and exits the room, leaving Alex momentarily distracted from his burdens by her considerate presence. Alex exhales deeply, leaning back in his chair as he surveys the now organized desk. Finally, he murmurs, "It's done." With a flick of his hand, a translucent status window materializes before him, displaying the latest figures of his kingdom. The population count reads 834,673. Though the growth appears rapid, he knows it's the result of integrating the monster populations from the Ralthian kingdom, and it won't increase significantly unless he conquers the other 2 kingdoms. His gaze lingers on the number, a hint of frustration flickering across his features. "If only the system recognized the citizens of my subject kingdom as my own," he muses aloud. "That would push our numbers over 2 million and elevate me to Tier 6. Shaking off the thought, Alex shifts his focus to the kingdom's treasury. The status window updates to reveal gold coins, 2,137,450. He nods appreciatively. "More than 2 million gold," he notes. "It's time to invest in strengthening our forces." His mind races through the possibilities, but one stands out. Reviving a peak Tier 5 subordinate would provide the high-end combat prowess we currently lack, he concludes. Alex navigates through the system's interface, searching for available peak Tier 5 subordinates. 3 options materialize before him, each accompanied by detailed information. Zarvok the Infernal Juggernaut. Revive cost, 2 million. Level, 599. Race, Demon. Abilities: Mastery over Hellfire, immense physical strength, and near-impervious armor. Background: once a feared warlord in the Abyssal Plains, Zarvok's rampage was halted by a coalition of heroes who sealed him away. Solara the Enchantress of Shadows. Revive cost, 2 million. Level, 599. Race, Dark Elf. Abilities: Expertise in dark magic, illusion crafting, and manipulation of shadows. Background: a former high priestess exiled for delving into forbidden arts, Solara's name became synonymous with whispered fears in the night. Gorith the Earthshaker. Revive cost, 2 million. Level, 599. Race Giant. Abilities: Control over seismic forces, unparalleled strength, and durability. Background: an exiled giant who once roamed the mountainous regions. Alex leans back, contemplating the choices before him. Each of these beings possesses formidable power that could significantly bolster his kingdom's strength. Alex leans back in his chair, contemplating the options before him. He mutters to himself, in terms of combat power, Gorith is the strongest, followed by Zarvok. Solara, while not as physically dominant, offers the most versatility with her abilities. He taps his fingers on the desk, weighing the strengths and weaknesses of each potential subordinate. Gorith's strength, capable of conjuring seismic phenomena, could devastate enemy fortifications, he muses. Zarvok's mastery of Hellfire would be invaluable in large-scale battles. But Solara's expertise in dark magic and illusions could provide strategic advantages beyond brute strength. Chapter 128. 3 Peak Tier 5 Subordinates. Part 2. Alex continues to deliberate. Solara's versatility in dark magic and illusions is tempting, he murmurs. But we're in the midst of war. We need raw power to break through enemy defenses. He recalls reports detailing the Ordea Kingdom's formidable city barriers, particularly the capital's. Their defensive spells are robust, he reflects. Even Varkas might struggle against them. His thoughts turn to Gorith, a giant with control over seismic forces, he muses. If anyone can shatter those barriers, it's him. Decision made, Alex said. Let's see if the Earthshaker can live up to his name, he says. Alex rises from his chair, determination hardening his features. With a swift motion, he activates the teleportation. In an instant, the familiar surroundings of his chamber dissolve, replaced by the dimly lit expanse of the resurrection chamber. The chamber hums with latent energy, its walls inscribed with ancient runes pulsating softly. Alex approaches the platform, his footsteps echoing in the vast space. He places his hand upon the cold stone, channeling his will into the system interface. A translucent screen materializes before him, displaying the list of available subordinates for revival. Without hesitation, he selects Gorith the Earthshaker. Confirm revival of Gorith the Earthshaker for 2 million gold coins? The system prompts. Confirm, Alex affirms. The chamber's ambient hum intensifies as the runes flare to life, casting shifting shadows across the walls. A vortex of energy coalesces above the platform, swirling with earthen hues and crackling with power. The ground trembles slightly as the energy condenses, taking form. Moments later, the towering figure of a giant emerges from the dissipating energy. Standing at 10 meters tall, Gorith's presence is imposing. His skin resembles weathered stone, and his eyes glow with a subdued, molten light. Despite his massive stature, he moves with deliberate grace as he steps down from the platform. Gorith surveys his surroundings briefly before his gaze settles on Alex. Without hesitation, he descends to one knee, bowing his head in deference. Your Majesty, Goritha's voice resonates deeply, echoing through the chamber. Thank you for reviving me. I am ready to serve. Alex nods, a satisfied smile playing on his lips. Rise, Gorith. Your strength is needed now more than ever. Gorith stands, his towering form casting a long shadow. Command me, and I shall lay waste to those who oppose you. Alex stands before Gorith, the towering giant whose presence commands attention. With a calm yet authoritative tone, Alex speaks. Vaelith. From the shadows, Vaelith materializes silently, his form emerging as if woven from darkness itself. He bows slightly, acknowledging Alex's summons. Alex gestures towards Gorith. Gorith is here, he states. Explain to him everything he needs to know. Vaelith inclines his head. Yes, your majesty, he replies, his voice smooth and unwavering. Satisfied, Alex turns away, the air shimmering briefly as he teleports back to his working chamber, leaving the two alone in the resurrection chamber. Goritha's molten eyes focus on Vaelith, a flicker of recognition crossing his stony features. A deep, rumbling chuckle escapes him. Oh, Vaelith, he rumbles. Long time no see. Vaelith allows a rare, subtle smile to touch his lips. Indeed, Gorith, he responds. Much has changed since we last stood together. General Varkas leads the formidable force of 70,000 monsters toward Eldoria City. The army halts at the city's outskirts, confronted by ranks of human soldiers standing in formation. The atmosphere is tense as both sides assess each other. From the city's gates, King Edric himself emerges, his regal presence commanding attention. He strides toward Varkas, his expression a blend of respect and resolve. General Varkas, King Edric begins, his voice steady. Welcome to Eldoria. We are prepared to provide the supplies and support you require. Varkas inclines his head, acknowledging the king's greeting. Your Majesty, your cooperation is appreciated. Our forces will benefit greatly from your provisions. The citizens of Eldoria line the streets, their eyes wide with astonishment and apprehension as they witness the monstrous army within their city. Whispers ripple through the crowd. As the monstrous army of Erevaris marches through the streets of Eldoria, a hushed awe blankets the city. Citizens line the cobblestone roads, their eyes wide with a mixture of fear and fascination. An elderly man, his face lined with years of hardship, shakes his head slowly. So that's the army of the Erevaris kingdom. He murmurs to no one in particular. No wonder we lost. Nearby, a young woman clutches her child's hand tightly, her gaze fixed on the towering figures passing by. I never imagined such creatures existed, she whispers. A merchant, his stall momentarily abandoned, observes the disciplined ranks. They're not the monsters we all know, he notes. Look at their formation, their coordination. This is a true army. Amidst the procession, General Varkas rides at the forefront, his armor gleaming under the overcast sky. His piercing gaze scans the crowd, noting the mixture of emotions etched on the faces of Eldoria's citizens. From the southern gate, the rhythmic march of additional troops draws attention. 10,000 human soldiers from Ralthian enter the city, their banners fluttering in the breeze. They seamlessly integrate into the monstrous ranks, a testament to the new alliances forged in the crucible of war. A young soldier from Ralthian glances sideways at his monstrous counterparts, his expression a blend of curiosity and apprehension. Never thought I'd be marching alongside orcs and trolls, he mutters. Beside him, a towering orc with scarred features grins, revealing sharp tusks. First time for everything human, he rumbles. Just don't slow us down. The soldier chuckles nervously. I'll do my best. As the unified army continues its march through Eldoria, the lines between former enemies blur, and a new chapter in the realm's history begins to unfold. After replenishing their supplies in Eldoria, the combined forces of Erevaris and Ralthian resume their march toward the Ordea kingdom. The army stretches across the horizon, a formidable blend of monstrous and human soldiers moving with unified purpose. As they traverse rolling plains and dense forests, the soldiers engage in quiet conversations, bridging the gaps between their diverse backgrounds. In the grand hall of the Ordea Palace, Queen Seraphina stands before a towering window, her gaze fixed on the distant horizon. The afternoon sun casts long shadows across the marble floor, reflecting the weight of the news she anticipates. Marshal Medrin enters briskly, his armor clinking softly with each step. He bows deeply. "Your Majesty." Queen Seraphina turns, her expression calm yet attentive. "Marshal Medrin, what news do you bring?" Medrin straightens, his face etched with concern. "Your Majesty, our scouts report that the combined forces of Erevaris and Ralthian have resumed their march toward our borders. At their current pace, they will reach our capital within a week." The Queen's eyes narrow slightly as she processes the information. "How large is their force?" "Approximately 90,000 strong," Medrin replies. Queen Seraphina moves to a nearby table, unrolling a detailed map of the kingdom. Her fingers trace the routes leading to the capital. "And our defenses?" Medrin steps forward, pointing to various locations on the map. "Our city walls are fortified with the latest defensive spells, and our garrisons are fully manned. However, facing such a vast army, our resources will be stretched thin." Seraphina nods thoughtfully. "We must utilize every asset at our disposal." She looks up, determination in her eyes. "Issue a request to the Adventurers Guild. Offer a bounty of 100 gold coins for every enemy soldier they eliminate." Medrin hesitates, concern flickering across his face. "Your Majesty, after the devastating losses the adventurers suffered in the last battle, I fear many will be reluctant to take on this quest." Seraphina's expression remains resolute. "I understand, Medrin. Few may accept, but even a small force can harass the enemy, slow their advance, and diminish their numbers. Every bit of resistance counts." Medrin bows, accepting the command. "As you command, Your Majesty." He turns and strides from the hall to carry out the order. Left alone, Queen Seraphina gazes out the window once more, her mind racing. As the first woman to rule the Ordea kingdom, she has transformed it into the wealthiest of the three kingdoms. She silently vows not to let the approaching monsters destroy all that she has built. 2 days into the march, the combined forces of Erevaris and Ralthian traverse a dense forest, the canopy filtering sunlight into dappled patterns on the ground. The rhythmic sound of boots and hooves against the earth is suddenly interrupted as shimmering arrows, glowing with arcane energy, descend from the treetops. "Ambush!" a Ralthian soldier shouts, raising his shield just in time to deflect a magic-infused arrow that bursts into sparks upon impact. Nasara swiftly assesses the situation. "Form defensive positions. Shields up," she commands, her voice cutting through the chaos. The monstrous troops of Erevaris and the human soldiers of Ralthian instinctively tighten their ranks, shields interlocking to create a protective barrier against the relentless rain of magical projectiles. A towering orc beside Soren growls, scanning the dense foliage. "Can't see the attackers, Commander. They're concealed in the trees." "Archers," Soren bellows. "Return fire. Aim for the treetops." Ralthian archers swiftly notch arrows, their eyes narrowing as they seek out elusive targets amidst the leaves. They release a volley, arrows whistling through the air toward the suspected positions of the hidden assailants. Ralthian archers swiftly notch arrows, their eyes narrowing as they seek out elusive targets amidst the leaves. They release a volley, arrows whistling through the air toward the suspected positions of the hidden assailants. A human soldier near the rear staggers as a magic arrow grazes his arm, leaving a searing burn. He grits his teeth, gripping his sword tighter. These aren't ordinary arrows. They're laced with some kind of sorcery. Chapter 129. Arrive at the Border City, Part 1. As the echoes of battle fade and the adventurers retreat into the dense forest, General Varkas surveys the aftermath. 5 adventurers lie motionless on the ground, their lifeless forms a testament to the ferocity of the skirmish. Nearby, 3 human soldiers nurse wounds, their faces contorted in pain. Varkas raises his hand, signaling the army to halt. His deep voice resonates through the ranks. Hold position. Tend to your wounds and assist the injured. The soldiers and monstrous allies move swiftly, some retrieving medical supplies, others helping the wounded to a more secure area. The camaraderie between the diverse forces is evident as they support one another. Varkas's piercing gaze then falls upon Sorin, who stands nearby, wiping blood from her daggers. Sorin, Varkas commands, his tone firm yet measured. Take a team of scouts and advance ahead. Ensure we aren't led into another ambush. Sorin sheathes her daggers and nods, her expression resolute. Understood, General. I'll select our best and depart immediately. Varkas places a hand on her shoulder, his eyes conveying both trust and urgency. Be thorough but swift. We can't afford delays, but neither can we risk another surprise attack. I'll make sure of it, Sorin assures him. We'll cover the terrain meticulously and report back with any findings. Good, Varkas replies, releasing his grip. May the shadows guide your steps. Sorin turns on her heel, scanning the assembled troops. She quickly identifies a group of seasoned scouts, both human and monster, and signals them to gather. We're moving out, she informs them. Stay alert and silent. Our objective is to secure the path ahead and prevent further surprises. The selected scouts nod in unison, their faces set with determination. Without further ado, they melt into the underbrush, their movements swift and stealthy. As the army progresses through the dense forest, Sorin leads her team of scouts ahead, her twin daggers gleaming in the dappled sunlight filtering through the canopy. Her sharp eyes scan every shadow, every rustling leaf, attuned to the slightest hint of danger. On several occasions, would-be ambushers barely have time to react before Sorin's blades find their mark, eliminating the threat swiftly and silently. Those who manage to escape her assault flee. After days of careful navigation and preemptive strikes, the army emerges from the forest unscathed. In the evening, as campfires flicker and soldiers tend to their gear, Sorin approaches the central command tent where Nasara, Thurn, and Veltha are gathered around a map with General Varkas. Varkas looks up as Sorin enters. Thanks to your efforts, we've avoided further ambushes. His tone carries both gratitude and respect. Sorin inclines her head modestly. The scouts performed admirably. We encountered several groups lying in wait, but they were dealt with before they could pose a threat. Nasara smirks. Word of our exploits is spreading. The five of us are becoming quite the legends across the three kingdoms. So some probably fled after seeing Sorin. Thurn said, after our clash with the Valgros Kingdom's Black Knight, it's no surprise. Defeating such a formidable foe has only added to our renown. Veltha nods thoughtfully. I guess it's a good thing the adventurers are hesitating. If they weren't, we'd be having a hard time. As the army settles into the evening camp, General Varkas stands before a large map spread across a makeshift table, illuminated by the flickering light of nearby torches. He addresses the assembled commanders, Sorin, Nasara, Thurn, and Veltha, his tone resolute. According to this map, Varkas begins, tracing a path with his finger. We're approaching the border city of Ordea. Once we secure it, we'll divide our forces to expedite the conquest of the remaining cities. Nasara, arms crossed, leans in to examine the map. Splitting up will allow us to cover more ground, she acknowledges. But it also means we'll be more vulnerable individually. Thurn nods in agreement. True, but our recent victories have dwindled their forces. If we maintain our momentum, they'll struggle to mount significant resistance. Veltha, his eyes scanning the map, adds, we should coordinate our movements carefully. Establishing communication lines between our divided forces will be crucial to respond to any unforeseen challenges. Sorin, her fingers lightly tapping the hilt of one of her daggers, speaks up. Speed and precision will be our allies. If we strike swiftly and decisively, we can prevent them from regrouping or organizing counterattacks. Varkas nods, a determined glint in his eyes. Exactly. We'll finalize the details of our division after the border city fall. For now, rest and prepare. Tomorrow we march at dawn. The commanders exchange affirming glances, understanding the weight of the tasks ahead. As the meeting concludes, they disperse to oversee their respective units, ensuring readiness for the battles to come. After several days of relentless marching, the army finally reaches the outskirts of Ordea. The city looms ahead, its formidable walls bristling with defenders. Banners of both Ordea and Valgros flutter atop the ramparts, and a vast assembly of soldiers and adventurers, numbering around 30,000, stand ready for battle. General Varkas surveys the imposing scene, a wry smile playing on his lips. "Well," he remarks dryly, "it appears they've rolled out the welcome mat for us." Nasara, standing beside him, lets out a low whistle. Quite the gathering. They must be feeling the pressure to muster such a force. Thurn adjusts his grip on his weapon, eyes narrowing. They know what's at stake. Ordea is their shield. If it falls, the path into their heartland lies open. Veltha nods thoughtfully. Their unity suggests they've set aside differences to confront our advance. This won't be a simple siege. Sorin, her twin daggers gleaming in the sunlight, steps forward. "Then we should strike decisively, General. A prolonged siege favors them, not us." Varkas's gaze lingers on the city's defenses. "Agreed. We'll convene tonight to devise our strategy. For now, ensure the troops are rested and ready. Tomorrow we make our move." The commanders exchange resolute nods before dispersing to prepare their respective units for the impending assault. Chapter 130. Arrive at the Border City, Part 2. In the fortified war room of Ordea's central keep, 5 generals convene around a large wooden table strewn with maps and strategic plans. The air is thick with the gravity of the impending siege. General Tezorn of Ordea, a seasoned leader with graying temples, breaks the silence. "Our defenses are prepared," he states, his voice steady. "The magic cannons are positioned along the eastern and southern walls, and our archers are stationed at every vantage point." Beside him, General Albruck of Valgros, known for his tactical acumen, nods in agreement. "Our combined forces are as ready as they can be," he adds. "However, we must acknowledge the strength of the approaching army. Despite our preparations, there's a significant chance we won't be able to halt their advance entirely." General Medal of Ordea leans forward, his brow furrowed. "Our primary objective, then, is to diminish their numbers substantially," he asserts. "If we can reduce their forces by half, we'll not only weaken their immediate assault, but also hinder their capacity for future offensives." General Jaren of Valgros, her eyes sharp and calculating, interjects. "Agreed," she says. "We should focus on targeted strikes, utilizing the magic cannons to break their formations and create chaos within their ranks." General Rostin, the last of Ordea's representatives, strokes his beard thoughtfully. "Additionally," he suggests, "Marshal Medrin will be on standby if that Tier 5 monster decides to move." As the sun sets over Ordea, casting long shadows across the city walls, a weary soldier named Doral stands atop the watchtower. His eyes scan the horizon where the enemy's encampment sprawls, fires flickering like malevolent stars. A knot of fear tightens in his stomach. Every man in the city knows their grim fate. They are mere cannon fodder in this impending siege. The presence of their families within the city's walls, a strategy devised by the Valgros generals to ensure unwavering defense, only deepens the weight on their hearts. Doral's thoughts drift to his wife and young son, asleep in their modest home. Lost in his turmoil, Doral's attention snaps back to the present as a dark silhouette materializes just beyond the city's protective barrier. The figure, draped in a black robe, exudes an aura of menace and purpose. Doral's hand instinctively grips the hilt of his sword, but before he can sound the alarm, the figure's voice cuts through the tense air, calm, yet laced with an unsettling confidence. "Relax, human," the stranger intones. "I come not as an enemy tonight, but with a proposition." Doral's heart pounds in his chest. The figure before him is undoubtedly one that can kill him instantly, a tier 4 assassin, a rank signifying lethal skill and unmatched cunning. What do you want? Dorel manages, his voice barely above a whisper, wary of waking the city to this ominous visitor. We are aware, the assassin continues, that your families are held within these walls, a tether binding your will to fight. It is a cruel manipulation. Dorel's grip on his sword tightens, knuckles whitening. The truth in the assassin's words stings. We offer you a way out, the figure says, stepping closer but stopping just at the barrier's edge. Tomorrow, amidst the chaos, open the gate for us. In return, we give you our word, the civilians will remain unharmed. No blood needs to be shed among the innocent. Conflicted emotions surge within Dorel. Hope, guilt, fear. And if I refuse? The assassin's voice remains steady, devoid of threat yet heavy with implication. Then the siege will proceed as planned. And in the chaos of battle, we cannot guarantee the safety of anyone within these walls. Dorel's mind races. Betray his comrades to save his family? Or uphold his duty and risk losing everything he holds dear? The weight of the decision threatens to crush him. Consider my offer, the assassin says, sensing the turmoil. When the first light touches the horizon, choose where your loyalties lie, with those who see you as expendable, or with the lives of those you love. With that, the figure dissolves into the shadows, leaving Aldrich alone atop the watchtower, the distant murmur of the enemy camp and the weight of an impossible choice his only companions. In the dimly lit command tent, Sorin, Nasara, Thurn, and Veltha pore over a map spread across a sturdy wooden table, strategizing for the impending siege. Without warning, the shadows in the corner of the tent coalesce, forming the silhouette of the tier 4 assassin. His sudden appearance causes Nasara to instinctively reach for her daggers, but she relaxes upon recognizing the familiar figure. The assassin inclines his head slightly toward Sorin. Commander Sorin, he begins, his voice a low murmur. I have delivered the message to one of their soldiers as instructed. Sorin meets his gaze, her expression one of measured appreciation. Thank you for your swift action, she replies, acknowledging their equal standing within the ranks. The assassin's lips curve into a faint, almost imperceptible smile. Think nothing of it, he responds. It is all in service to His Majesty's cause. With a final nod, the assassin's form dissolves back into the shadows, leaving the commanders to their preparations. As dawn breaks over the battlefield, a vast army assembles before the fortified city of Ordea. 70,000 monstrous soldiers stand alongside 10,000 human troops, their ranks a testament to the alliance forged under General Varkas's command. Despite the formidable force at his disposal, Varkas remains stationary, his gaze fixed skyward. He senses a concealed presence, a powerful aura lurking above. Moving now would provoke the hidden adversary, a confrontation he seeks to avoid to conserve his strength for the decisive moment. The 4 commanders, Sorin, Nasara, Thurn, and Veltha, stand at the forefront of their respective units, each embodying unique strengths poised for the assault. As the signal to advance is given, the battlefield erupts into chaos. Nasara's shield wall leads the charge, a moving fortress that absorbs volleys of arrows and withstands the onslaught of Ordea's defenders. The interlocked shields form an impenetrable barrier, reminiscent of ancient formations designed to endure both spells and projectiles. Chapter 131. The barrier disappear. The defenders of Ordea unleash a barrage of spells and arrows upon the advancing monstrous army. The projectiles streak through the sky, descending upon the front lines with lethal intent. Yet, Nasara's shield-bearing unit stands resolute, their interlocked defenses forming an impenetrable barrier. Arrows shatter against the sturdy shields, and spells dissipate harmlessly upon contact. From the city's walls, Ordean archers and mages intensify their assault, aiming to break the advancing formation. However, the cohesion of Nasara's shield wall, combined with the monster army's resilience, allows them to weather the storm. The defenders' frustration grows as their attacks yield minimal impact. Behind this moving fortress, their own mages begin casting spells, hurling fireballs and bolts of dark energy toward the city's fortifications. Yet, Ordea's protective barriers shimmer into existence, absorbing and nullifying the incoming magic. The city's defenses hold firm, repelling the arcane assault. Observing the stalemate, Soren, the assassin commander, turns to Veltha, whose serpentine features glisten under the morning sun. Veltha, Soren speaks with urgency. Take your swiftest units and flank their eastern side. Disrupt their archers and create an opening. Veltha's serpentine eyes narrow with anticipation. Consider it done, she replies, her voice a melodic hiss. With a fluid motion, she signals to her unit of fast-moving monsters. Move swiftly and strike true, she commands. Her unit breaks away from the main force, darting across the battlefield with remarkable speed. They weave through the chaos, evading incoming projectiles with great agility. As they approach the eastern flank, Ordea's archers scramble to adjust, but Veltha's forces are upon them before they can react. Veltha slithers up the city's stone walls with lethal grace. Her dagger gleams under the moonlight as she targets an Ordean archer poised to release another volley. She strikes, but the city's magical barrier flares, halting her blade momentarily. With a hiss of frustration, she channels her Tier 4 skill, and the barrier cracks under the pressure. Her dagger finds its mark, silencing the archer instantly. As the barrier begins to mend, she withdraws her hand, noting its vulnerability to her power. Emboldened, Veltha seeks her next target. She lunges at another archer, but her dagger clashes against a sword that intercepts her strike. Before her stands General Metal, a Tier 4 warrior of Ordea, his eyes burning with resolve. Your intrusion ends here, Serpent, Metal declares, his voice a mix of authority and disdain. Veltha's serpentine eyes narrow as she locks onto General Metal, his sword gleaming. The battlefield's cacophony fades into a tense silence between them. If you're that confident, Veltha hisses, her voice dripping with venomous challenge. Come down here. Stop hiding behind your little barrier. Metal's grip tightens on his sword. I will kill you, monster! Leaping from the parapet to land gracefully before her. The ground trembles slightly beneath his weight, a testament to his formidable presence. Without hesitation, Veltha strikes first, her dagger a blur aimed at Metal's throat. He parries with precision, their blades clashing in a shower of sparks. She slithers around him, seeking an opening, but Metal anticipates her movements, countering each attack with disciplined efficiency. Meanwhile, on the other side of the battlefield, Soren, Nasara, and Thurn observe the engagement, noting the barrier's susceptibility to Tier 4 attacks. The realization weighs heavily upon them. Only the 4 of them possess such power. Nasara, her massive shield slung across her back, steps closer to Soren. Soren? She begins, her voice steady amidst the surrounding chaos. What if I infiltrate the city and sow chaos from within? Soren's eyes narrow, concern evident. That's dangerous. The enemy has at least 4 Tier 4 warriors inside those walls. Nasara gestures to her imposing form, her armor gleaming despite the grime of battle. You don't have to worry. Do you see my body? It would take a lot of effort to kill me. Thurn, his massive frame looming beside them, grunts in agreement. I'll go with her. We can also destroy some civilian houses to make that human decide faster, or we do it ourselves. Soren contemplates the proposal, the weight of command pressing upon her. After a moment, she nods. Proceed, but exercise caution. Disrupt their defenses, but minimize civilian casualties. We need the city's infrastructure intact. Nasara and Thurn exchange a resolute glance before advancing toward the city's barrier. Channeling their Tier 4 skills, they breach the weakened magical defenses, slipping into the city. Nasara stands atop Ordea's towering walls, her evolved Arachne form gleaming under the sun. Her chitinous exoskeleton, reinforced by the consumption of rare ores, resembles a massive, intricately wrought suit of armor. With a calculated breath, she leaps from the battlements, her immense metallic body descending like a meteor toward the clustered Ordian soldiers below. The ground quakes as Nasara lands amidst the defenders, a deafening clang echoing across the battlefield. Dust and debris erupt from the impact, momentarily obscuring the scene. As the cloud settles, soldiers stagger backward, their faces a mixture of awe and terror at the formidable figure rising before them. Without hesitation, Nasara charges into the fray. Her multiple limbs, each ending in razor-sharp claws, slice through the air with lethal precision. She swats aside spears and swords effortlessly, her armored carapace deflecting blows that would fell lesser beings. An Ordian knight lunges at her with a battle cry, his blade aiming for a chink in her armor. Anticipating the move, Nasara sidesteps with surprising agility, her clawed appendage sweeping across his midsection. The knight crumples, his armor rent asunder. Nearby, Thurn joins the assault, his dark exoskeleton exuding a sinister sheen. Specializing in poisons, Thurn's attacks are calculated and insidious. He weaves through the chaos, his movements a deadly dance. With a swift jab, he injects a paralyzing toxin into an unsuspecting soldier, who collapses, muscles seizing. Another defender raises his shield, but Thurn's silk threads ensnare him, the sticky strands laced with a corrosive venom that eats through metal and flesh alike. Nasara! Thurn calls out amidst the clamor, his voice a guttural rasp. We need to press toward the gatehouse, disrupt their reinforcements. Nasara nods, her multifaceted eyes reflecting the carnage around her. Agreed. Stay close. I will carve a path. Doral's pulse quickens as he watches the monstrous figures of Nasara and Thurn breach the city's barrier and descend upon Ordea's streets. Their massive forms wreak havoc, dismantling defenses and instilling terror among the citizens. The cacophony of screams and shattering structures fills the air, underscoring the city's dire predicament. The weight of his earlier encounter with the assassin presses heavily upon Doral's conscience. The promise of his family's safety in exchange for opening the gate replays in his mind. Determined to protect his loved ones, he steels himself and makes his way toward the gate's control room, navigating through the chaos engulfing the city. Upon reaching the control room, Doral halts abruptly. Generals Jaren and Rostan stand guard, their expressions grim and resolute. The room is tense, the air thick with the anticipation of impending decisions. General Jaren's eyes narrow as she spots Doral. "Soldier, what are you doing here?" she demands, her voice edged with suspicion. Doral snaps to attention, masking his inner turmoil. "Sir, 2 monsters have breached the city and are causing destruction. No one seems able to stop them." General Rostan's face darkens with concern. "What the hell are the others doing?" he growls, exchanging a glance with Jaren. Jaren's jaw tightens. "We can't afford to lose our soldiers. Rostan, let's move." Without further hesitation, the 2 generals push past Doral, their focus solely on confronting the immediate threat. As their footsteps fade into the tumult outside, Doral is left alone in the control room, the lever to the city's gate mere steps away. Doral's gaze fixes on a glowing orb beside the lever, undoubtedly the barrier's core. His breath catches as he realizes the weight of his next move. The city's barrier has always been their primary defense. Disabling it could spell disaster. But the memory of the assassin's proposition and the images of his family flash through his mind. His hands tremble, sweat slicking his palms. He clenches his fists, trying to steady himself. "It's for them," he murmurs, voice barely audible. Drawing his sword, he hesitates, the blade hovering over the orb. A storm of doubt rages within him, but the distant screams and the thought of his wife and son steel his resolve. With a swift motion, he brings the sword down. The orb shatters, releasing a pulse of energy that sends him stumbling back. The room dims momentarily, and a low hum that had always been present fades away. The barrier is down. Heart-pounding, Doral turns to the lever. His fingers curl around it, knuckles whitening. He takes a deep breath, whispering a silent apology to his comrades. Then, with a grunt, he pulls. The mechanisms groan in protest, gears grinding as the massive gates begin to part. A gust of cold air rushes in, carrying with it the scent of damp earth and something more ominous. Dorrel steps back, the weight of his actions pressing heavily upon him. As the barrier dissipates and the city's gates begin to creak open, the monster soldiers who had been held at bay surge forward with a collective roar. Their weapons gleam under the sun as they charge through the opening, their eyes burning with anticipation and fury. On the eastern wall, General Tezorn watches in disbelief as the shimmering barrier vanishes. His eyes widen, and he grips the battlement tightly, knuckles whitening. "What the hell happened?" Tezorn mutters, his voice barely above a whisper. "The barrier, it's gone." Chapter 132. Prince Asdri of Valgros Kingdom. As the barrier collapses and the gates groan open, the monstrous horde surges forward with a deafening roar. Human soldiers, already in defensive positions, tighten their grips on weapons and shields, bracing for the onslaught. The two forces collide with earth-shaking intensity. Despite their discipline and training, the human soldiers are swiftly overwhelmed. The monster warriors, towering and ferocious, tear through the ranks with brutal efficiency. Swords and spears glance off thick hides and armored carapaces, while claws and fangs rend through steel and flesh alike. Cries of pain and terror echo as the defenders falter. Atop a nearby hill, General Varkas observes the battlefield. His form stands tall, fur bristling in anticipation. His keen eyes scan the chaos below, noting the swift collapse of human defenses. A low growl escapes his throat, a mixture of satisfaction and anticipation. Looking up, his keen eyes fixate on the faint shimmer in the sky, a telltale sign of invincibility. His lips curl into a predatory grin, revealing sharp canines. His voice, deep and resonant, cuts through the cacophony of battle. "Human," Varkas calls out, his tone laced with mockery. "Are you not going to aid your people? We are on the verge of conquering your city." The air distorts as Marshal Medrin deactivates his invisibility, revealing his imposing armored figure hovering above the battlefield. His expression remains stoic, unreadable. Without a word, he ascends higher into the sky, distancing himself from the fray. Varkas watches Medrin's departure, a guttural chuckle rumbling from his chest. As always, he muses aloud, "Humans are truly cruel." Below, the battlefield is a maelstrom of chaos. The monstrous forces press their advantage, their superior strength and ferocity driving the human defenders back toward the city's heart. General Varkas's piercing eyes scan the battlefield, observing his monstrous soldiers overwhelming the human defenders. The clash of steel, the cries of the wounded, and the scent of blood permeate the air. His forces press forward relentlessly, their sheer ferocity and strength driving the humans back toward the city's heart. Even the enemy generals struggle against his commanders, who are systematically dismantling the human leadership. Varkas stands atop a small rise, his lycanthropic form exuding dominance. He doesn't need to engage. His army is executing his strategy flawlessly. His ears twitch as he picks up the sounds of combat. Clashing weapons, desperate shouts, and the heavy thud of bodies hitting the ground. Nearby, Nasara confronts General Jaren. The human general's sword flashes in the sunlight as she delivers a series of precise strikes. Nasara parries effortlessly with her chitinous limbs, her multifaceted eyes reflecting Jaren's determination. "You're resilient," Nasara acknowledges, her voice a melodic hiss. "But resilience won't save your city." Jaren grits her teeth, sweat streaming down her face. "As long as we draw breath, we'll fight." Nasara's mandibles click in amusement. "Then prepare to be breathless." With a swift motion, she entangles Jaren's sword arm in a web of silk, yanking the weapon away. A swift kick sends the general sprawling. Varkas observes these encounters with satisfaction. His commanders are executing their roles with precision, breaking the human leadership and morale. The city's defenses crumble, and victory seems imminent. He turns his gaze toward the central keep, where the remaining human forces are making a final stand. Varkas signals the advance. The monstrous horde moves forward, an unstoppable tide poised to claim the city. In the heart of Valgros Kingdom's capital, within the palace's concealed chamber, King Rewalt stands before a shimmering teleportation portal. The portal's swirling energies cast an ethereal glow across the stone walls, illuminating the king's contemplative expression. This gateway connects to one of the 3 major continents, a testament to the kingdom's expansive reach. King Rewalt's gaze remains fixed on the portal, anticipation evident in his stance. He awaits the arrival of his eldest son, Prince Asdri, who had once been destined for the throne but chose the path of exploration over rulership. Moments later, the portal's surface ripples, and 4 silhouettes emerge. As they step into the chamber, one of them, a burly man with a thick beard, grumbles loudly. "Captain, you really should reconsider the location of your kingdom's portal," he complains, adjusting the heavy pack on his shoulders. "It's practically at the edge of the continent." Beside him, a slender figure clad in ornate robes rolls her eyes. "Can you stop complaining? I'm tired of hearing you whine," she retorts, her voice tinged with exasperation. Prince Asdri steps forward, a wry smile playing on his lips. "Father," he greets, inclining his head respectfully. "I apologize for our entrance. Allow me to introduce my companions." He gestures to the grumbling man. "This is Pike, a warrior of unmatched strength." Pike nods, still adjusting his pack. "Your Majesty," he mumbles. Asdri then indicates the robed woman. "And this is Ingra, a mage whose knowledge surpasses many scholars." Ingra offers a slight bow. "An honor, Your Majesty." The prince continues, introducing the remaining 2. "Here we have Famir, a master archer known for his unparalleled precision." Famir, a lithe man with sharp eyes, places a hand over his heart and bows. And lastly, Valia, a healer whose skills have saved us more times than I can count. Valia, a serene woman with a gentle demeanor, smiles warmly. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Your Majesty." King Rewalt's eyes light up with pride as he steps forward, arms outstretched. "Welcome, everyone. Thank you for accompanying my son on his journey home." His gaze settles on Asdri, a warm smile breaking across his face. "It's good to see you're doing well." Asdri inclines his head respectfully. "Thank you, Father. Your unwavering support has been instrumental. I've reached level 599 and stand on the brink of breaking through to Tier 6. As he speaks, a powerful aura emanates from him, filling the chamber with an intensity that surpasses even that of Marshal Zinov. Rewalt's laughter resonates through the room. "Excellent. Your strength arrives at a crucial time." Asdri's expression turns serious. "Father, is it true that a monster has established its own kingdom and is now battling the combined forces of our kingdom and Ordea?" Rewalt's face darkens. "It's true. Ralphion has already submitted to that monster and become its subject kingdom." Hearing this, Asdri's companions exchange uneasy glances. Pike clenches his fists, his voice filled with disdain. "What a pathetic king. I'd rather die than bow to monsters." Ingra nods in agreement. "In our continent, monsters have always been a menace, relentlessly attacking human kingdoms and destroying cities." Famir's eyes narrow. "If Ralphion's king surrendered so easily, it doesn't bode well for the rest of us." Valia's voice is calm but firm. "Then we must stand strong and ensure that doesn't happen to Valgros." Rewalt nods approvingly at their resolve. "Your determination is commendable. We face a formidable foe, but with your combined strength, we have a fighting chance." Asdri places a reassuring hand on his father's shoulder. "We won't let you down, Father. Together, we'll protect our kingdom and drive back this monstrous threat." Rewalt's eyes glisten with gratitude. "Then let us prepare. The battle for Valgros's future begins now." As the sun sets over the ravaged city, the battlefield falls eerily silent. The once proud human soldiers now lie scattered, either lifeless or kneeling in surrender. The monstrous horde stands victorious, their dominance undeniable. Varkas strides through the debris-laden streets. His piercing eyes scan the remnants of the human forces, noting the absence of their leaders. The generals have fallen, their resistance extinguished. Nasara approaches, her chitinous limbs glistening under the fading light. Her multifaceted eyes reflect satisfaction. "The city is ours, General," she reports, her melodic hiss carrying a note of triumph. "The human generals are no more. Resistance has crumbled." Varkas nods, a predatory grin revealing sharp canines. "Well done, Nasara. Our victory here sends a clear message to those who would oppose us." As the monstrous forces secure their victory, the battlefield quiets, save for the occasional groan of the wounded. Amidst the aftermath, a lone human soldier, his armor dented and face smeared with grime, approaches General Varkas and Commander Nasara. His hands tremble slightly, and his eyes dart nervously. "Excuse me," he stammers, voice wavering.
I'm Dorel.
I did what you asked. Where is my family?" Nasara's multifaceted eyes gleam with recognition. "Ah, so you're the one who dismantled the barrier and opened the gates." She hisses, a hint of amusement in her tone. Varkas steps forward, his towering lycanthropic form casting a shadow over Dorel. "Rest assured, human," he rumbles, voice deep and resonant. "Your family, along with most civilians, are safe. Your actions have not gone unnoticed, and you shall be rewarded." At that moment, Soren, a lithe figure with sharp features, approaches. "I can escort you to your family," she offers, her tone softer than the others. As Dorel walks alongside Soren through the war-torn streets, the weight of his actions presses heavily upon him. The path is lined with detained human soldiers, their expressions a mix of exhaustion and simmering rage. Whispers ripple through their ranks, growing louder and more hostile. "That's him," one soldier mutters, eyes narrowing. "The traitor who sold us out." Another sneers. "Hope your 30 pieces of silver were worth it, Dorel." Dorel's steps falter, his face flushing with a mix of shame and frustration. He clenches his fists, trying to ignore the barbed words. A voice calls out, dripping with venom. "How does it feel to betray your own kind? To watch your comrades die because of you?" Stopping abruptly, Dorel turns to face them, his eyes blazing. "You think I wanted this?" he snaps, his voice shaking. "I did what I had to do to save my family. To save your families." Chapter 133, Farayon City, capital city of Valgros Kingdom. The street falls into a tense silence, Dorel's outburst hanging heavily in the air. The detained human soldiers, their faces etched with exhaustion and resentment, exchange uncertain glances. Their ingrained beliefs paint monsters as relentless killers, incapable of mercy or restraint. Yet, the reality before them challenges this perception. Unbeknownst to the human soldiers, the monster army undergoes rigorous training to master their emotions, achieving a level of discipline that often surpasses that of humans. This control enables them to act strategically, rather than succumbing to base instincts. One soldier, his voice tinged with reluctant realization, breaks the silence. Maybe he has a point. Our families are unharmed." Another, still grappling with the weight of the situation, mutters, "But they're monsters. How can we trust them?" A third, his tone softer, reflects, "Perhaps we've misjudged them. Their actions speak differently than we expected." Soren, observing the shifting sentiments, speaks gently to Dorel. "Come, let's reunite you with your family." Dorel nods, a glimmer of hope in his eyes, and continues down the path, leaving the soldiers to ponder the complexities of their new reality. A day has passed since the city's fall. The monster forces have established control, and the human soldiers face a choice: surrender and serve, or resist and face the consequences. In the central square, General Varkas addresses the assembled captives. "Humans," he begins, his deep voice resonating, "you are now our captives, and don't think we will let you go. Your city is under our control. However, we offer you a path forward." Murmurs ripple through the crowd. Some soldiers exchange wary glances, while others stare defiantly ahead. Varkas continues, "Those among you who choose to lay down your arms will be given roles as guards within this city. You will maintain order among your own people, ensuring their safety and well-being." A soldier from the front row steps forward, his face etched with skepticism. "And if we refuse?" Nasara, standing beside Varkas, responds with a calm yet firm tone. "Resistance will not be tolerated. However, understand this, we do not seek unnecessary bloodshed. Cooperation benefits all." Another soldier, younger and visibly shaken, asks, "What guarantees do we have that our families will remain safe?" Varkas meets his gaze. "Your families are under our protection. Your decision will not affect their safety. Our quarrel was with your rulers, not civilians." The crowd remains silent, the weight of the decision pressing upon them. After a moment, an older officer steps forward. "I will serve as a guard. If it means preserving what's left of our city and people, it's a duty I'm willing to undertake." Slowly, more soldiers nod in agreement, stepping forward to join the ranks of the city's new guards. However, a faction remains unmoved. One of them, a hardened veteran with no family ties in the city, speaks up. "I won't bow to monsters. I'd rather face whatever consequences you have in store." Varkas regards him for a long moment before nodding. "So be it. You will be detained until further decisions are made." In the aftermath of the city's capture, the monster generals convene in the grand hall of the seized citadel. The room, once adorned with human regalia, now stands as a testament to the monster's dominance. General Varkas stands at the head of a massive stone table, his piercing eyes surveying his commanders, Sorin, Thurn, Nasara, and Veltha. Varkas's deep voice breaks the silence. "The fall of this city marks a significant victory, but our campaign is far from over. The remaining cities of the Ordea Kingdom are vulnerable, their defenses lacking. We must act swiftly to capitalize on their weakness." Nasara said thoughtfully, "General, our scouts report that cities like Shalis and Tavon have minimal garrisons. Their leaders, complacent in their perceived security, will not anticipate an assault." Thurn's fists clench in anticipation. "Then let's not keep them waiting. My unit is ready to march at your command." Veltha, her serpentine eyes narrowing, adds, "A coordinated strike on multiple fronts will sow confusion and hasten their downfall." Varkas nods, his gaze unwavering. "Agreed. Sorin, you and Thurn will lead the assault on the Shalis city. Nasara and Veltha, your forces will take on the Tavon city." The commanders gather around the expansive map spread across the stone table, their eyes tracing the routes to Shalis and Tavon. The cities lie to the east and southeast, respectively, separated by rolling plains and dense forests. Sorin taps the map near Shalis. "The terrain here is mostly open fields," she observes. "We can cover the distance swiftly without much resistance." Thurn nods in agreement. "A direct march will bring us to their gates before they have time to react." Nasara's clawed finger trails along the path to Tavon. "This route cuts through the Shadowfen woods," she notes. "The dense canopy could provide cover for our approach, but might also conceal potential threats." Veltha's serpentine eyes gleam. "Our forces are adept at navigating such environments. We can use the forest to our advantage, striking swiftly and without warning." Varkas surveys his commanders, pride evident in his gaze. "You all understand the stakes. Move out immediately and show these cities the might of our forces." With synchronized bows, the commanders depart to rally their units. As dawn breaks, the monstrous legions march forth, their disciplined ranks moving with purpose toward their next conquests. Alex and Drea navigate the bustling streets of Pharion, the capital city of Valgros, their appearances altered to blend seamlessly with the human populace. The city is alive with festivity. Colorful banners stretch across narrow alleys, and the air is filled with the enticing aromas of roasted meats and sweet confections. Street performers captivate onlookers with lively tunes and mesmerizing dances, while children weave through the crowds, their laughter ringing out in delight. Approaching a vendor's stall adorned with an array of vibrant fabrics, Alex feigns casual curiosity. "Excuse me," Alex begins, his tone light. "What's the occasion for all these celebrations?" The vendor, a middle-aged man with a friendly demeanor, looks up from arranging his wares and smiles. "You must be a tourists," he replies warmly. "We're celebrating the return of Prince Asdri from his grand adventure. The entire city is rejoicing in his honor." Chapter 134. The Banquet. Drea leans in slightly, her eyes reflecting intrigue. "Prince Asdri?" she inquires. "Could you tell us more about his journey?" The vendor's chest swells with pride. Prince Asdri is beloved by all," he says. "He embarked on a quest to distant lands, seeking knowledge and alliances. His return signifies a prosperous era for Valgros." Alex nods appreciatively. "It sounds like a momentous time for the city," he remarks. The vendor gestures to the lively scene around them. "Indeed," he agrees. "Feel free to join the festivities. There's much to see and enjoy." Thanking the vendor, Alex and Drea merge into the jubilant crowd, their senses absorbing the vibrant tapestry of Firian's celebration. As Alex and Drea continue through the festive streets of Firion, the rhythmic beat of drums and the harmonious strum of lutes draw their attention to a bustling square. A temporary stage, adorned with vibrant banners depicting the royal crest, stands at the center, surrounded by an eager crowd. Curious, Alex leans toward a nearby spectator. "What's happening here?" he inquires. The spectator, a young woman with a flower-adorned hat, turns with a smile. "They're reenacting Prince Asdri's legendary battle against the serpent," she explains. "It's a highlight of the celebrations." On stage, actors in elaborate costumes bring the tale to life. One, portraying Prince Asdri, dons gleaming armor and wields a replica sword that glints under the afternoon sun. Opposite him, another actor, enveloped in a serpentine costume with scales shimmering in shades of obsidian and violet, embodies the menacing serpent. The narrator's voice rises above the music. In the darkened depths of Raven Hollow, the valiant Prince Asdri confronted the dreaded Shadow Serpent, a beast of formidable power threatening our lands. The crowd watches intently as the actors depict the fierce battle. The prince moves with agility, dodging the serpent's lunges, while the serpent coils and strikes, its eyes glowing ominously. Drea observes, her gaze analytical. "They're portraying the Shadow Serpent as a Tier 4 monster," she murmurs to Alex. "That's a significant threat level in this kingdom." On stage, the climax unfolds as Prince Asdri delivers a decisive blow, the serpent writhing before collapsing. The crowd erupts into applause, cheering the prince's victory. The narrator concludes, "With unparalleled bravery, Prince Asdri vanquished the Shadow Serpent, ensuring peace for our realm once more." As the performance ends and the actors bow, Alex turns to Drea. "The prince's feats have certainly left an impression on his people," he remarks. As Alex and Drea continue their exploration of Firian's festive streets, the tantalizing aroma of grilled meats, spiced pastries, and sweet confections fills the air. Vendors enthusiastically call out to passersby, showcasing their culinary delights. Drea's eyes sparkle as she surveys the array of treats. Drea said while looking around, "The humans certainly know how to celebrate. Everything looks and smells delightful." As they stroll past a luxurious restaurant adorned with golden accents and intricate carvings, Alex's keen ears catch snippets of conversation from a group of nobles seated near an open window. "The banquet in the palace this evening promises to be the grandest yet," a portly noble in an opulent crimson robe remarks, swirling a goblet of wine. "Indeed," agrees a woman draped in emerald silk, her fingers adorned with sparkling rings. "Prince Asdri's return is cause for unparalleled celebration. The palace will be resplendent." Alex and Drea exchange thoughtful glances. The banquet could offer valuable insights into the kingdom's affairs and the esteemed prince. Alex's gaze lingers on the opulent restaurant where the nobles converse, their laughter and animated discussions about the evening's banquet filtering through the open window. He turns to Drea, a thoughtful expression crossing his face. Drea, he begins, his voice low. We need to attend that banquet tonight. Drea's eyes widen slightly, understanding the implications. But, Your Majesty, we lack invitations. Gaining entry might prove challenging. A subtle smile tugs at the corner of Alex's lips. With our abilities, slipping in unnoticed won't be an issue. However, we'll need appropriate attire to blend seamlessly. Drea nods in agreement, her demeanor shifting to that of a dutiful attendant. Understood, Your Majesty. Shall we procure suitable garments for the occasion? Yes, Alex affirms. Let's find a tailor who can provide us with the necessary attire. As they navigate through the bustling streets, shops peddle colorful fabrics and garments, their stalls brimming with options. However, Alex seeks something more refined. Spotting a boutique with an elegant facade, its window displaying finely crafted garments, Alex gestures toward it. This establishment looks promising. Drea steps ahead, opening the door for Alex. After you, Your Majesty. Inside, the boutique exudes sophistication. Mannequins draped in luxurious fabrics stand poised, showcasing the latest in noble fashion. A tailor, an elderly gentleman with a measuring tape draped around his neck, approaches with a courteous bow. Welcome, he greets, his eyes assessing the newcomers. How may I assist you today? Alex adopts a confident yet approachable demeanor. My sister and I have been invited to the royal banquet this evening but find ourselves without appropriate attire due to unforeseen circumstances. We require ensembles that befit the occasion. The tailor's eyes shine. After all, these customers are nobles. Ah, the royal banquet is indeed a grand affair. You've come to the right place. Allow me to present some selections. He leads them to a section adorned with exquisite garments. For the gentleman, we have this midnight blue doublet with silver embroidery, paired with tailored trousers. And for the lady, this emerald gown with intricate lace detailing would complement her features beautifully. Drea's cheeks flush slightly at the compliment but maintains her composure. They are indeed lovely. Alex nods appreciatively. These will suffice. We'll need them tailored promptly. The tailor hesitates. Such adjustments typically require time, but given the circumstances, I can expedite the process for an additional fee. Alex reaches into his pouch, producing a few gold coins. Will this cover the urgency? The tailor's eyes gleam as he accepts the payment. Certainly, my lord. Please, follow me for measurements. Chapter 135. Innate Ability. After a swift yet precise fitting session, the tailor assures them the garments will be ready within the hour. Alex and Drea take the opportunity to explore the nearby market, eventually returning to collect their attire. Dressed in their newly acquired ensembles, they stand before a polished mirror. Alex adjusts the cuffs of his doublet, the silver embroidery catching the light. Will blend in seamlessly. Drea smooths the fabric of her gown, the emerald hue accentuating her complexion. Indeed, Your Majesty. As evening descends upon Pharion, the city lights shimmer in anticipation of the grand banquet. Alex and Drea, now attired to match the nobility, make their way toward the palace, ready to infiltrate the event and uncover the insights they seek. With the aid of an item, Alex and Drea slip unnoticed into the grand palace. They navigate through opulent corridors toward the banquet hall. Inside, the banquet is in full swing. Golden chandeliers cast a warm glow over the vast hall, illuminating tables laden with sumptuous dishes and goblets brimming with fine wines. The air hums with the murmur of noble conversations and the gentle strains of a string quartet. Alex and Drea, now visible and seamlessly blending with the attendees, find seats at a less conspicuous table near the periphery. Alex surveys the array of culinary delights before selecting a plate of roasted pheasant glazed with honey and herbs. He savors each bite, the flavors a testament to the palace's renowned chefs. Drea, seated beside him, observes intently, noting the dishes that capture his favor. As his personal maid and head of the royal household staff, understanding his preferences is second nature. She leans in slightly, her voice soft to avoid drawing attention. "Your Majesty seems to favor the pheasant this evening," she remarks, a hint of curiosity in her tone. Alex nods, dabbing his lips with a linen napkin. "Indeed, it's exceptionally prepared. The balance of sweetness and savor is delightful." Drea's eyes flicker to the other dishes. "And the saffron-infused rice? Does it complement the pheasant to your liking?" He samples a forkful, considering. "It's palatable, though perhaps a touch overseasoned for my taste." She notes this with a subtle nod, filing the information away. "I'll ensure the palace chefs are informed of your preferences." Alex offers a faint smile. "Your attention to detail is, as always, impeccable." Their exchange is discreet, masked by the ambient noise of the banquet. Drea's role extends beyond mere service. Her insights into his tastes and habits are invaluable, especially in unfamiliar settings. As the evening progresses, Alex continues to sample various dishes, while Drea remains vigilant, attuned to his reactions and the subtleties of his palate. As the evening progresses, the grand doors of the banquet hall swing open with a resounding echo, drawing the attention of the assembled nobility. A hush falls over the room as King Erwin strides in, exuding regal authority in his deep crimson robes adorned with golden embroidery. His golden crown, encrusted with precious gems, catches the light of the chandeliers, casting a subtle shimmer. Beside him walks Prince Asdri, the kingdom's celebrated hero. His tall, athletic frame, a collective sigh seems to ripple through the hall as many of the ladies find their gazes irresistibly drawn to the prince. Fans flutter to cool suddenly warm cheeks, and whispered admirations circulate discreetly. Alex, seated at a table near the periphery, observes the scene with a neutral expression. Drea, ever attentive, leans in slightly. "Your Majesty," she murmurs. This human prince appears to have quite the effect on the ladies of the court. Alex's lips curve into a faint, knowing smile. It's to be expected. A returning hero, especially one of his stature, often becomes the focus of admiration. As King Erwin and Prince Asdri take their seats at the elevated table, the hall's steward steps forward, his voice carrying over the assembled guests. "Let the festivities continue in honor of our esteemed guests." The musicians strike up a lively tune, and the banquet resumes its merry pace. As the evening progresses, the harmonious strains of a waltz begin to emanate from the orchestra, signaling the commencement of the dance. Nobles throughout the grand hall rise from their seats, gracefully selecting partners and moving toward the center of the room. The atmosphere is charged with anticipation, yet many eyes subtly drift toward Prince Asdri, awaiting his choice. Seated beside Alex at their table on the periphery, Drea observes the unfolding scene with quiet interest. When Prince Asdri stands and begins to stride purposefully across the dance floor, she assumes he is approaching one of the many eager noblewomen vying for his attention. However, as the prince's path becomes clear, a ripple of surprise courses through the assembly. Conversations hush, and all eyes follow his trajectory, directly toward Alex and Drea's table. Alex's brow furrows slightly, his posture tensing as he senses the shift in the room's focus. Halting before their table, Prince Asdri offers a courteous bow, his eyes locking onto Drea's. "My lady," he begins, his voice smooth and resonant. "Would you honor me with this dance?" A collective gasp ripples through the assembly. Whispers surge like an undercurrent. "Who is she? I've never seen her before." The noblewomen, their initial admiration now tinged with envy, cast daggers with their eyes toward Drea. Drea remains poised, her smile unwavering, though internally, a flicker of annoyance stirs. As a being of monster origin now cloaked in human guise, she feels disgusted being fancied by humans. She rises gracefully, offering Prince Asdri a respectful nod. "Your Highness, I am deeply honored by your invitation. However, I must humbly decline." The hall falls into stunned silence. A noblewoman seated nearby leans toward her companion, her voice a hushed whisper yet audible in the quiet. Prince Asdri's expression remains composed, though a flicker of surprise dances in his eyes. He inclines his head, a gracious smile gracing his lips. I understand. The honor was mine to extend. With that, he turns and retreats, leaving a sea of bewildered and curious faces in his wake. Drea resumes her seat beside Alex, who regards her with an amused glint. Quite the impression you've made, he murmurs, his tone laced with subtle mirth. Drea's smile remains, her eyes reflecting a hint of exasperation. It was not my intention to become the center of attention. As the waltz melody continues to weave through the grand hall, Drea leans slightly toward Alex, her voice low and meant only for him. Your Majesty, she murmurs, would you care to dance? Alex's eyes flicker with hesitation. I would like to, he admits quietly, but I must confess I don't know how. Drea's brow furrows slightly. But I recall you've danced before and quite well. Alex offers an awkward smile, searching for words. Let's just say it's been a while. Perhaps you could guide me? I'm a quick study. A soft chuckle escapes Drea's lips. Very well, Your Majesty. Shall we? Alex rises, extending his hand to her. Lead the way. They move toward the dance floor, finding a space among the swirling couples. Drea positions herself before Alex, placing his right hand on her shoulder blade and clasping his left hand in hers. Follow my lead, she instructs gently. Step forward with your left foot. Alex complies, and together they begin the basic box step of the waltz. Forward with the left foot, side with the right, then close the left foot to the right. Drea guides him through the sequence, her movements fluid and assured. Alex mirrors her steps, his confidence growing with each measure. As Alex and Drea continue their waltz, he notices Prince Asdri observing them intently from across the ballroom. A subtle smirk tugs at Alex's lips as he recalls the information he gleaned earlier using his system. Drea, Alex murmurs, maintaining the rhythm of their dance. Did you observe Prince Asdri's reaction when you declined his invitation? Drea's eyes flicker toward the prince briefly before returning to Alex. I did, Your Majesty. He seemed surprised but remained composed. Alex's smirk deepens. Indeed, there's more to him than meets the eye. He possesses an innate ability, a sixth sense. Drea raises an eyebrow, intrigued. A sixth sense? Like an enhanced intuition. Precisely, Alex confirms. As you already know, some individuals are born with unique talents that set them apart. This sixth sense allows one to perceive dangers or subtleties that others might overlook. It's a rare gift. As they continue to waltz, Alex maintains a composed expression, his eyes subtly scanning the room to ensure their conversation remains private. Though, he continues, I'm uncertain if Prince Asdri is aware of his own innate ability. Drea considers this, her gaze steady. Your Majesty, if he were aware, wouldn't he have already attempted to have us arrested? Alex nods slightly, acknowledging her point. I suppose you're right. It's best we take our leave now. Though Alex feels no fear, he wishes to avoid causing a scene at this moment. There are still matters to attend to in Valgros. With a final graceful turn, they conclude their dance. Alex offers a polite bow to Drea, who curtsies in response. Together, they navigate through the throng of nobles, their exit as unremarkable as their entrance. After slipping away from the palace unnoticed, Alex and Drea navigate the dimly lit streets of Pharaon. The city's nightlife is vibrant, with lanterns casting a warm glow over bustling marketplaces and lively taverns. They proceed toward the most luxurious inn in the city, the Gilded Lily, its reputation for discretion and comfort unmatched. Chapter 136, Silvercrest Auction House, Part 1. The following morning, Alex and Drea make their way through Phyrion's bustling streets toward the esteemed Silvercrest Auction House. The establishment's grand facade mirrors that of the renowned auction house in Ralphion, suggesting a shared heritage. The building's marble columns and intricate carvings exude an air of exclusivity, hinting at the treasures within. As they approach the entrance, two imposing guards in polished armor cross their halberds, barring entry. Apologies, one guard states firmly, his gaze assessing their attire. Access is restricted to nobility and individuals of distinguished status. Today's auction is under the patronage of Prince Asdri and his esteemed companions. The items presented are of exceptional caliber. Alex exchanges a glance with Drea, a flicker of frustration crossing his features. He then recalls the token bestowed upon him by the elderly at the Ralphian auction house. Reaching into his inner pocket, he retrieves the ornate emblem and presents it to the guard. Upon seeing the token, the guard's eyes widen in recognition and surprise. He straightens his posture, his demeanor shifting to one of deference. "My sincerest apologies, sir," the guard says, stepping aside promptly. "This token signifies the highest level of patronage within our establishment. Please, allow me to inform my superior of your arrival." The guard gestures for them to enter, his previous sternness replaced with respectful urgency. Alex and Drea exchange a brief, knowing look before proceeding into the opulent interior of the auction house. As Alex and Drea step into the grand foyer of the Silvercrest auction house, the opulence of the establishment is immediately evident. Gleaming marble floors reflect the light from ornate chandeliers, and intricately woven tapestries adorn the walls. The air is filled with a subtle blend of polished wood and aged parchment, evoking a sense of timeless elegance. Moments after their entry, a distinguished middle-aged man with neatly combed silver hair approaches them. His tailored attire and confident demeanor suggest a person of considerable authority within the auction house. He offers a deep, respectful bow. "Welcome to the Silvercrest auction house," he greets warmly, his voice smooth and practiced. "I am Cedric Langston, the house manager. It is both an honor and a privilege to host patrons of your esteemed standing." Alex inclines his head slightly in acknowledgement, his expression composed. "Thank you, Mr. Langston. We appreciate your hospitality." Cedric's eyes briefly flicker to the token in Alex's hand, and a subtle smile graces his lips. "I see you possess our most exclusive token. Such distinction is reserved for only our most revered clientele." He gestures gracefully toward a grand staircase leading to the upper levels of the auction house. "If you would kindly follow me, I shall escort you to our VVIP lounge. There, you can enjoy unparalleled privacy and comfort as you peruse the items available for today's auction." Alex and Drea exchange a brief glance before nodding in agreement. "Lead the way," Alex responds. As they ascend the staircase, Cedric maintains a measured pace, ensuring their comfort. The corridor they traverse is lined with exquisite artworks and display cases housing rare artifacts, each piece meticulously curated to showcase the auction house's prestigious collection. Upon reaching the VVIP lounge, Cedric opens the double doors to reveal an opulent yet tastefully furnished room. Plush velvet seating in deep emerald hues is arranged around a polished mahogany table, upon which rests a selection of fine wines and delicate hors d'oeuvres. Floor-to-ceiling windows offer a panoramic view of the cityscape, allowing natural light to bathe the room in a warm glow. Cedric steps aside, allowing them to enter. "Please make yourselves comfortable. Should you require any assistance or have specific requests regarding the auction items, do not hesitate to summon me." Alex leans forward slightly, his gaze meeting Cedric's. "Mr. Langston," he begins, his tone measured, "I have several items I wish to place in today's auction." Cedric's eyebrows lift marginally, a flicker of intrigue crossing his features. "Of course, sir," he responds smoothly. "May I inquire about the nature of these items?" Reaching into a satchel at his side, Alex retrieves two meticulously bound tomes, their covers embossed with arcane symbols. He places them gently on the mahogany table between them. "These are a Tier 4 skill book and a Tier 4 spell book," Alex states plainly. Cedric's eyes widen almost imperceptibly, his composed facade momentarily slipping. "Tier 4, you say?" he echoes, a hint of astonishment in his voice. Alex nods. "Indeed. I understand their rarity and the potential interest they might garner." Cedric's fingers hover over the tomes, not quite touching them, as if in reverence. "Sir, Tier 4 skill and spell books are exceedingly rare. The last time such an item was presented, it caused a significant stir throughout Valgros. Alex allows a slight smile. I anticipate these will draw similar attention. Cedric composes himself, nodding thoughtfully. Undoubtedly. Is there anything else you wish to consign? Alex reaches once more into his satchel, this time producing a sword of impeccable craftsmanship. The blade gleams even in the subdued lighting, its edge razor-sharp, and the hilt adorned with intricate engravings. This Tier 4 sword, Alex presents, laying it beside the tomes. Cedric examines the weapon, admiration evident in his eyes. A remarkable piece, he comments. Alex's gaze sharpens. There's more. This sword houses an embedded skill, allowing the wielder to utilize it instantly without prior learning. Cedric's head snaps up, disbelief flickering across his face. An embedded skill? He repeats, as if ensuring he heard correctly. Alex affirms with a subtle nod. Cedric leans back slightly, exhaling slowly. Sir, if what you claim is accurate, this sword is beyond extraordinary. Announcing such an item would not only captivate Valgros but would likely draw Ordea's attention and prompt them to send a representative. Alex's expression remains neutral. I trust the Silvercrest auction house is equipped to handle such attention? Cedric straightens, a hint of pride in his posture. Rest assured, we are more than capable. However, discretion is paramount. With the current tensions involving Ralphian and their alignment with non-human entities, we must proceed cautiously. Chapter 137. Silvercrest Auction House. Part 2. Alex inclines his head. I understand. I leave the particulars in your capable hands. Cedric rises, carefully gathering the items. Thank you for entrusting us with these treasures. I will personally oversee their authentication and ensure they are presented appropriately. Cedric's gaze lingers on the exceptional items Alex has presented, his mind already calculating the immense interest they will generate. He straightens, his professional demeanor returning. Sir, Cedric begins, in light of the extraordinary nature of these items, I propose we delay today's auction by an hour to properly announce their inclusion. This will allow us to inform our esteemed clientele and ensure that these treasures receive the attention they deserve. Alex nods, his expression calm and understanding. That's acceptable. I can wait. Excellent, Cedric responds, relief evident in his tone. I shall make the necessary arrangements immediately. With a respectful bow, Cedric departs the VVIP lounge, leaving Alex and Drea in the opulent room. News of the upcoming auction featuring Tier 4 skill and spell books, along with the remarkable sword housing and embedded skill, spreads rapidly throughout Valgros. Messengers are dispatched to noble estates, mercenary guilds, and influential figures across the kingdom. The announcement causes a stir, as such rare and powerful skills or spells are seldom available for public bidding. In the opulent VVIP lounge of the Silvercrest auction house, Prince Asdri and his companions, Pike, Ingra, Famir, and Valia, are comfortably settled, anticipating the commencement of the day's auction. The room exudes luxury, with plush seating and a selection of fine refreshments at their disposal. The door opens quietly, and Cedric Langston, the house manager, enters with a composed demeanor. He approaches the prince and offers a respectful bow. Your Highness, Cedric begins, his tone measured, I must inform you of a slight delay in today's proceedings. The auction will be postponed by 1 hour. Prince Asdri raises an eyebrow, curiosity piqued. A delay? What is the cause, Mr. Langston? Cedric maintains his professional composure. A distinguished gentleman has presented several exceptional items for auction, including Tier 4 skill and spell books. To properly announce and authenticate these items, we require additional time. The prince's companions exchange intrigued glances. Pike, the burly warrior, leans forward slightly. Tier 4 skill and spell books? Those are indeed rare. Cedric nods in agreement. Indeed they are. Furthermore, Your Highness, I must extend my apologies, as the order of the auction has been adjusted. The item you provided will no longer serve as the finale. Prince Asdri's eyes narrow slightly. Oh? And what item has taken its place? Before Cedric can respond, Ingra interjects with a hint of skepticism. Is there an item in the Three Kingdoms more valuable than our Tier 5 sword? Could it be a Tier 5 skill or spell book? Cedric offers a subtle smile, choosing his words carefully. It is not a Tier 5 skill or spell book, Lady Ingra. The item in question is a Tier 4 sword. However, its unique attributes elevate its value beyond that of a standard Tier 5 weapon. Famir tilts his head in curiosity. A Tier 4 sword surpassing a Tier 5? What makes it so extraordinary? Cedric maintains his composed demeanor. I am bound by discretion and cannot divulge specific details at this moment. However, I assure you that all will be revealed during the auction. Valia offers a gentle smile. It seems today's auction will be more eventful than anticipated. Prince Asdri leans back in his chair, a thoughtful expression on his face. Very well, Mr. Langston. We shall await the auction's commencement with heightened interest. Cedric bows respectfully. Thank you for your understanding, Your Highness. Should you require anything during the interim, please do not hesitate to summon me. With that, Cedric exits the lounge, leaving the prince and his companions to ponder the unexpected turn of events. The room buzzes with quiet speculation, each member contemplating the nature of the mysterious Tier 4 sword and the impact it may have on the auction's outcome. An hour passes, and the grand hall of the Silvercrest auction house buzzes with anticipation. The delay has only heightened the excitement among the attendees. Just as the auction is about to commence, the doors swing open to reveal a distinguished figure clad in the regal colors of Ordea. The representative strides in, his presence commanding attention. From their vantage point in the VVIP lounge, Prince Asdri and his companions observe the arrival. It seems Ordea has sent someone after all, Ingra remarks, her eyes narrowing as she watches the representative take a prominent seat near the front. Pike grunts, crossing his arms. Expected. News of Tier 4 skill book and spell book would draw even the most reserved parties. Famir nods in agreement. Their interest mirrors ours. Let's see how this unfolds. A hush falls over the hall as Cedric Langston ascends the podium, his demeanor poised and professional. He surveys the assembled guests before speaking. Esteemed guests, he begins, his voice resonating through the chamber. We appreciate your patience. The Silvercrest Auction House is honored to present an array of exceptional items today. Without further ado, let us commence. An attendant approaches, presenting a velvet cushion upon which rests a leather-bound tome embossed with a warrior's emblem. Our first offering, Cedric announces, is a Tier 3 warrior skill book, Blade Dance. This tome imparts the wielder with advanced combat techniques, enhancing agility and precision in battle. Bidding starts at 20,000 gold coins. A merchant from the Eastern Territories raises his paddle. 25,000. A noblewoman adorned in emerald silks counters. 30,000. From the VVIP lounge, Ingra leans slightly forward, observing the bids with keen interest. A burly man, likely a mercenary leader, raises his voice. 40,000. The representative from Ordea in the VVIP room remains composed, observing the proceedings without participating. Cedric's gaze sweeps the room. The bid stands at 40,000. Any further offers? A jeweler from the Southern Isles lifts his paddle. 45,000. The noblewoman hesitates, then declares, 50,000. Cedric nods. 50,000. Going once, going twice.
Chapter 138. Bidding war.
He pauses, scanning the room for any additional bids. With no further movement, he concludes, sold to the lady in emerald for 50,000 gold coins. A polite round of applause follows as the attendant delivers the tome to its new owner. In the VVIP lounge, Pike exhales slowly. If a Tier 3 skill book fetches that price, I can only imagine the bidding wars for the Tier 4 items. As the auction progresses, the subsequent items presented are of lesser significance, eliciting only modest interest from the attendees. The auctioneer steps forward, presenting a set of standard-issue steel gauntlets. "Ladies and gentlemen," he announces, "our next item is a pair of finely crafted steel gauntlets, offering reliable protection for any warrior." A few scattered bids emerge from the floor, with the final offer settling at a modest 500 gold coins. The auctioneer's gavel falls. "Sold to the gentleman in the blue cloak for 500 gold coins." In the VVIP lounge, Ingra observes the proceedings with a hint of boredom. "Standard equipment like that is hardly worth our attention," she remarks, swirling the wine in her glass. Next, the auctioneer unveils a collection of common alchemical ingredients. Up for bid, we have a bundle of rare herbs and minerals, essential for potion crafting. The bidding is tepid, with only a handful of alchemists showing interest. The lot is eventually sold for 3,000 gold coins. Famir leans back in his chair, arms crossed. "Unless they present something truly exceptional, I doubt we'll see any fervent bidding." As the auction progresses, Cedric Langston returns to the podium, his composed demeanor commanding the attention of the attendees. The grand hall of the Silvercrest Auction House, adorned with opulent chandeliers and intricate tapestries, falls into an expectant hush. "Esteemed guests," Cedric begins, his voice resonating through the chamber. "We now present a series of distinguished items consigned by influential figures from across the realm. Each of these offerings holds significant value and rarity." An attendant steps forward, presenting a velvet-lined tray upon which rests a collection of Tier 2 and Tier 3 skill books and spell books, their covers embossed with arcane symbols and gilded lettering. Cedric gestures towards the display. "Our next items include a selection of Tier 2 and Tier 3 skill and spell books, each imparting advanced techniques and knowledge to their wielder. Additionally, we have procured rare herbs sought after for their potent alchemical properties." In the VVIP lounge, Prince Asdri and his companions observe the proceedings with keen interest. Ingra, the mage, leans forward slightly, her eyes narrowing as she assesses the items. "Tier 2 and Tier 3 tomes and rare herbs," she muses. "While not as coveted as the Tier 4 offerings, they still hold considerable value for those seeking to enhance their abilities." Cedric continues, "We shall commence with the first item, a Tier 2 spell book titled Arcane Surge. This tome enhances the caster's magical output, allowing for more potent spellcasting. Bidding starts at 15,000 gold coins. A robed figure from the Magi Consortium raises a hand. 15,000. A merchant from the Southern Isles quickly counters. 17,000. An alchemist seated near the front joins in. 18,000. Cedric's gaze sweeps the room. The bid stands at 18,000. "Do I hear 20,000? The Magi Consortium representative lifts his paddle again. 20,000. The merchant from the Southern Isles hesitates, then nods. 22,000. The alchemist shakes his head, signaling his withdrawal. Cedric allows a brief pause before continuing. 22,000. Going once, going twice. The Magi Consortium representative raises his paddle once more. 25,000. The merchant sighs, conceding defeat. 25,000. Sold to the Magi Consortium, Cedric declares as the gavel falls. Polite applause follows as the attendant delivers the tome to its new owner. In the VVIP lounge, Alex observes the exchange with a contemplative expression. Cedric signaling the presentation of the next item. As the auction progresses, the atmosphere in the grand hall of the Silvercrest Auction House becomes increasingly electric. Attendees, ranging from noble dignitaries to esteemed collectors, sit in anticipation, their murmurs creating a soft hum throughout the room. "Esteemed guests," Cedric begins, his voice resonating with authority. "We now arrive at the moment you've all been awaiting. The forthcoming items are presented by none other than His Highness, Prince Asdri." A ripple of excitement courses through the audience. The prince's reputation precedes him. Each of his appearances at the auction house brings forth items of unparalleled rarity and value, with the lowest tier being a formidable Tier 4 armor and some rare herbs. In the VVIP lounge, Prince Asdri observes the proceedings with a serene expression. His companions, Pike, Ingra, Famir, and Valia, seated alongside him. Ingra leans in slightly, her curiosity evident. "Captain," she inquires softly, "with the items we've put in this auction, I'm sure these people will fight for it like hungry beasts." Cedric's gaze sweeping over the expectant audience. The grand hall of the Silvercrest auction house falls silent, the air thick with anticipation. "Ladies and gentlemen," Cedric announces, his voice resonant, "we now present an item of exceptional rarity and craftsmanship, consigned by His Highness, Prince Asdri." An attendant steps forward, carrying a polished ebony case adorned with intricate silver filigree. With deliberate care, he opens the case, revealing a suit of armor that gleams under the chandelier's light. The armor's surface shimmers with an otherworldly sheen, its design both elegant and formidable. "Behold," Cedric continues, "the Obsidian Aegis, a Tier 4 armor set forged in the legendary fires. This masterpiece offers unparalleled protection and agility, its enchantments woven by the most skilled artisans." A collective murmur spreads through the hall as attendees lean forward, eyes fixed on the magnificent armor. "We shall commence bidding at 100,000 gold coins," Cedric declares, his gaze scanning the room. A nobleman in the front row raises his paddle. 100,000. Almost instantly, a lady adorned in sapphire jewels counters. 120,000. Chapter 139, Weldia Continent. From the VIP lounge, a voice interjects with calm authority. 150,000. All eyes turn toward Lord Mesvin, a renowned collector known for his discerning taste. Not to be outdone, Marquis Aloan, seated across, raises his paddle. 175,000. The bids escalate rapidly. 200,000, calls a viscount from the Eastern Territories. 250,000, responds a duchess, her eyes gleaming with determination. In the VVIP lounge, Ingra observes the fervor with a smirk. "They're like vultures over carrion," she murmurs. Pike leans back, a subtle smirk playing on his lips. "Captain," he murmurs, addressing Prince Asdri, "if we were to sell the Obsidian Aegis back in Weldia Continent, it would scarcely fetch 100,000 gold coins. Yet here in your home, the nobles clamor over it, driving the price to astronomical heights." Ingra nods, her eyes glinting with amusement. "Indeed," she adds, "the scarcity of such artifacts in this continent inflates their value considerably. They perceive it as an unparalleled opportunity." Famir chuckles softly. "Their fervor is our gain," he remarks. "The allure of the unknown and the exotic compels them to part with their fortunes." On the auction floor, the bidding war reaches its climax. Lord Mesvin, his face flushed with determination, raises his paddle once more. "For 150,000 gold coins," he declares, his voice echoing through the hall. A collective gasp ripples through the audience. Marquis Aloan hesitates, his brow furrowed in contemplation. After a tense moment, he exhales sharply and lifts his paddle. 500,000 gold coins, he announces, his tone resolute. Cedric's eyes sweep the room, gauging for further bids. The hall falls into a hushed silence, the weight of the moment palpable. After a measured pause, Cedric raises his gavel. 500,000 gold coins, he reiterates. Going once, going twice. He pauses, allowing the anticipation to build. With no further bids forthcoming, Cedric brings the gavel down with a decisive thud. "Sold to Marquis Aloan for 500,000 gold coins," he announces. A wave of applause cascades through the hall as the attendant carefully closes the ebony case containing the Obsidian Aegis. With deliberate steps, he delivers the prized artifact to its new owner. As the Obsidian Aegis is delivered to Marquis Aloan, the auction continues with a series of exceptional items, each fetching impressive sums. A Tier 4 enchanted longsword garners 300,000 gold coins, while a set of rare alchemical elixirs commands 250,000. The momentum persists, with each subsequent item achieving prices well into the hundreds of thousands. In the VVIP lounge, Famir leans forward, his eyes wide with astonishment as he watches the bids escalate. He turns to Asdri, a broad grin spreading across his face. "Captain," Famir exclaims, his voice tinged with incredulity. "We're rich now. I can't believe we're amassing this much gold from these auctions." Pike chuckles softly, his gaze fixed on the auction floor below. "It's remarkable indeed," he agrees. "The demand here in the Three Kingdoms far surpasses that of Weldia. Our decision to bring these artifacts to this market has proven exceedingly profitable." Cedric Langston, ever the consummate auctioneer, steps forward with measured grace. His eyes, sharp and discerning, sweep over the assembled nobility and collectors. With a subtle nod to the attendants, he signals the unveiling of the Knight's Piece de Resistance. "Esteemed guests," Cedric begins, his voice resonant and commanding, "we have now arrived at the moment you have all been awaiting, presented by none other than His Highness, Prince Asdri. We are honored to showcase an artifact of unparalleled craftsmanship and power." Two attendants, clad in immaculate attire, approach the center stage with deliberate steps. Between them, they carry an elongated ebony case, its surface adorned with intricate silver filigree that seems to dance under the ambient light. The weight of the moment is tangible. Conversations cease, and the room is enveloped in an almost reverent silence. With a synchronized motion, the attendants place the case upon the velvet-draped podium and unlatch its ornate clasps. As the lid is gently lifted, the room collectively leans forward, breaths held in anticipation. Nestled within the plush interior lies the Tier 5 sword, Eclipse. Its blade, forged from a rare unknown metal, exudes a subtle luminescence, shifting between hues of midnight blue and silver as it catches the light. The hilt, wrapped in dragonhide-like material, is crowned with a pommel shaped like a crescent moon, embedded with a sapphire that mirrors the night sky. Cedric allows a moment for the audience to absorb the majesty of the weapon before continuing. "Behold, Eclipse," he announces, his tone imbued with admiration. "A Tier 5 sword, masterfully forged in the celestial forges. Legends speak of its blade being tempered in the heart of a fallen star, granting it unparalleled sharpness and resilience. The wielder of Eclipse is said to command the very shadows, making it a coveted artifact for warriors and collectors alike." A murmur of awe ripples through the hall, though none dare break the solemnity with idle chatter. In recognition of its rarity and the masterful artistry involved in its creation, Cedric continues, "Bidding for Eclipse will commence at 1,000,000 gold coins. A moment of stillness ensues, the weight of the sum settling over the attendees. Then, from the left side of the hall, a paddle is raised with deliberate intent. 1,000,000 gold coins. A voice declares, belonging to Duke Lucius, known for his formidable armory and discerning taste. Almost immediately, a counteroffer emerges from the right. 1,200,000, bids Lady Rani, her eyes gleaming with determination. The atmosphere becomes charged as paddles are raised in rapid succession. 1,500,000. 1,700,000. 2,000,000, interjects Lord Ayres, his voice cutting through the escalating bids with finality. Collective gasp resonates. 2,000,000 gold coins, a sum that underscores the unparalleled value of Eclipse. Cedric, maintaining his composure, scans the room for further bids. The attendees exchange glances, weighing the enormity of the amount. Chapter 140. A Tier 4 sword with a skill? The bidding war for Eclipse intensifies, with offers soaring beyond expectations. Duke Lucius raises his paddle confidently. 2,200,000 gold coins, he declares. Lady Rani, undeterred, counters swiftly. 2,400,000. The atmosphere in the auction hall is electric. Nobles and collectors exchange glances, the weight of the sums being offered evident on their faces. 2,600,000. A hushed murmur ripples through the audience. The sums being discussed are staggering, a testament to the sword's unparalleled craftsmanship. Marquis Aloan, who had previously secured the obsidian aegis, seems torn. His desire is evident, but he remains seated, perhaps mindful of his recent expenditure. Lady Rani, sensing an opportunity, makes her move. 2,800,000. She announces, her voice steady. The room holds its collective breath. All eyes turn to Duke Lucius and Lord Ayres, anticipating their responses. After a prolonged pause, during which the weight of the moment is palpable, Lord Ayres raises his paddle for what seems to be the final time. 3 million gold coins. A collective gasp echoes through the hall. The threshold has been crossed. The magnitude of the bid underscores the sword's legendary status. Cedric Langston, ever the consummate professional, allows the moment to settle before speaking. 3 million gold coins, he reiterates. Are there any further bids? The hall remains silent. Lady Rani, after a brief hesitation, offers a graceful nod, conceding the contest. Cedric raises his gavel. 3 million gold coins, going once, going twice. Just as the gavel begins its descent, a voice from the rear of the hall interrupts. 3,500,000. Heads swivel to identify the late entrant. It's the representative from Ordea. The envoy, a distinguished figure clad in robes adorned with arcane symbols, stands with an air of quiet authority. Cedric, momentarily taken aback, regains his composure swiftly. 3,500,000 gold coins. An impressive bid. Lord Ayres, clearly weighing his options, ultimately offers a respectful nod toward the Ordean representative, signaling his withdrawal from the contest. Cedric scans the room one final time. 3,500,000 gold coins, going once, going twice. He pauses, ensuring no further bids are forthcoming. Sold. To the esteemed representative from Ordea. A round of applause ensues, acknowledging both the winner and the extraordinary artifact that has just changed hands. As the grand hall of the Silvercrest auction house settles from the previous sale, Cedric composed demeanor commanding the room's attention. The chandeliers cast a warm glow over the expectant faces of nobles, collectors, and esteemed guests. Cedric's voice resonates through the hall. Ladies and gentlemen, we now present a remarkable offering. A Tier 4 skill book and a Tier 4 spell book, consigned together as a single lot at the owner's request. Bidding will commence at 1 million gold coins. In the VVIP lounge, Drea leans toward Alex, her eyes gleaming with anticipation. Your Majesty, our items are finally being auctioned. Alex nods thoughtfully, his gaze fixed on the auction floor. Indeed, I trust we'll secure a sum exceeding 5 million. The auctioneer scans the room. We open with 1 million gold coins. Do I have an opening bid? A representative from the Kingdom of Ordea raises his paddle. 1 million gold coins. A merchant from the Southern Isles counters. 1,200,000. The bids escalate. 1,400,000. Calls a noblewoman adorned in emeralds. 1,600,000. Responds a delegate from the Eastern Territories. The Ordean representative raises his paddle once more. 2 million gold coins. A hush falls over the hall. Cedric allows the moment to linger before speaking. 2 million gold coins. Any further bids? Silence prevails. 2 million gold coins, going once, going twice. The gavel descends with a decisive thud. Sold to the representative from Ordea for 2 million gold coins, Cedric announces. Polite applause follows as the attendant delivers the prize tomes to their new owner. In the VVIP lounge, Drea turns to Alex, her expression a mix of satisfaction and curiosity. 2 million is a respectable sum, though below our expectations. Alex offers a contemplative smile. Indeed, the market can be unpredictable. Nevertheless, it's a substantial addition to our coffers. Ladies and gentlemen, Cedric begins, his voice resonating through the grand hall. We now present the last item of today's auction. A ripple of excitement courses through the audience. Many had assumed the Tier 5 sword would conclude the event, and curiosity now dances in their eyes. Cedric continues, This item is a Tier 4 sword. A collective pause grips the room. Whispers emerge, laced with confusion and skepticism. Is this a jest? A voice from the crowd challenges. How can a Tier 4 sword hold more significance than a Tier 5? Cedric offers a knowing smile, his eyes scanning the assembly. I assure you, I am not jesting. This particular Tier 4 sword possesses a unique attribute. It is embedded with a skill. The wielder can access a Tier 4 ability without the need for prior training or mastery. The hall falls into a stunned silence. Such a phenomenon is unheard of, and the weight of Cedric's words hangs heavily in the air. From the VVIP lounge, Prince Asdri leans forward, his interest piqued. Is this claim accurate? He inquires, his gaze fixed on Cedric. Cedric meets the prince's eyes with unwavering confidence. Indeed, Your Highness. Would you care to experience it firsthand? A hush falls over the room as all eyes turn to Prince Asdri. After a brief moment of contemplation, he rises gracefully from his seat. I accept, Asdri declares, his voice steady. Descending from the VVIP lounge, Asdri moves with the poise befitting his royal stature. The crowd parts respectfully as he approaches the podium where Cedric stands beside an ornate display case. Cedric gestures toward the case, and an attendant steps forward to unveil the sword. The weapon is a masterpiece of craftsmanship. Its blade, forged from an unknown metal, gleams with a subtle, otherworldly light. Intricate runes are etched along its length, pulsating faintly with latent energy. Asdri reaches out, his fingers closing around the hilt. The moment he makes contact, a surge of information floods his mind, a comprehensive understanding of the embedded Tier 4 skill. The sensation is both exhilarating and overwhelming. He steadies himself, taking a measured breath. The knowledge settles, and he becomes acutely aware of the power now at his disposal. Turning to Cedric, Asdri nods appreciatively. Your claims are substantiated, he acknowledges. Cedric inclines his head respectfully. Thank you, Your Highness. Asdri addresses the assembly, his voice carrying the weight of his royal authority. This sword is indeed extraordinary. The embedded skill integrates seamlessly, granting the wielder immediate proficiency. A ripple of astonishment spreads through the audience. The implications of such a weapon are profound, and many begin to realize they are witnessing a pivotal moment in innovation. Asdri returns the sword to its display, offering a final nod to Cedric before making his way back to the VVIP lounge. Cedric allows the audience a moment to absorb the demonstration before speaking. With this first-hand validation, we shall commence the bidding for this unparalleled Tier 4 sword. The opening bid is set at 1 million gold coins. In the VVIP lounge, Prince Asdri strides back into the room, his expression contemplative. Pike, his trusted companion, observes him keenly. Captain, Pike begins, his tone laced with curiosity. Does that sword truly possess a Tier 4 skill? Asdri nods, a hint of bewilderment in his eyes. Yes, it does. I can't fathom how that's possible. Famir, seated nearby, leans forward. Perhaps we should meet with the owner to uncover its origins. On the auction floor, the bidding commences with fervor. 1 million gold coins, calls a noble. 1,200,000, counters from a merchant. The tempo rises sharply. 1,400,000. 1.6. 2 million. The crowd is feverish now, voices overlapping, hands rising rapidly. 2,300,000. 2,800,000. Cedric's gaze sweeps the hall, his expression calm amidst the storm. 3 million gold coins, he declares as the next paddle lifts, the number spoken by a velvet-clad viscount near the center. In the VVIP lounge, Drea watches with amusement. They're going mad for it, she murmurs. Alex leans forward slightly, eyes still locked on the floor. Let them. On the auction floor, the noble's frenzy reaches new heights. The amounts become so staggering that aides are dispatched in haste. Runners sprinting toward private vaults and carriages to fetch more funds. Bring another 2 million from the vault, a nobleman shouts to his retainer. Another bangs his hand on the armrest. Have my accountant transfer from the Third Estate Holdings, now. 4 million! A merchant lord from the Golden Coast calls out, his face flushed. 5 million. Comes a calm yet cutting voice from the representative of Ordea, raising his paddle with composed authority. A hush descends. The numbers are no longer just high, they are historic. Even Cedric pauses, his eyes flicking to the VVIP lounge. From within, Prince Asdri rises once more.
No fanfare. No dramatic gesture.
He simply lifts his paddle. 6 million gold coins, he says, voice steady, cool. Gasps ripple through the room. The Ordean representative exhales slowly, visibly shaken but not yielding. He raises his paddle again. 6,500,000. The room is frozen, the tension so thick it feels like no one breathes. Back in the lounge, Pike speaks low. Captain, are you certain? Asdri's gaze never leaves the sword. We must have it, he says quietly. Then, aloud, he lifts his paddle. 7 million. The crowd explodes into murmurs. Nobles, merchants, and envoys all look at one another in disbelief. Some are shaking their heads, some clapping softly in admiration.